Between you, Judy, you've been right.
Okay.
9 o'clock, we will come to order. Thank you all for being here today. Happy Valentine's Day. It's the day of love, so we're going to spread love with everybody here today. Magistrate Harmon, would you invoke God's blessing on our meeting, please?
Father, we thank you this morning for this opportunity to serve you again in public government. We thank you that you've chosen us for our time and our season. You use us for your glory and your honor. We thank you for what you're doing in Wilmore, Kentucky, that it'll continue to grow and move across our nation and our state. And Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve you in the place of government. And Lord, we pray for our county and our cities. We pray that your blessings will be upon each one. Guide us today as we meet. Bless those that come today to share. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. We have the pleasure of having the Boyle County High School FFA group with us today. And Clay Craig, who is the reporter, okay, is going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will stand and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Okay, we have...
Judge, could we let the folks come in? We gotta have another one out there. Just say hello to them, or are they?
They're going to come in. Yeah, they're going to come in here in just a second. We're going to have them all in. We have got 3 sets of minutes to approve this morning. We have January 24th, January 31st, and February the 7th.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second. Okay, motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bogner. Any discussion?
Judge, I met this morning with Katina because there were a few things that I was asking her if she could go back to the tapes and listen and clarify.
Yes, sir.
If it would please the court, if we could pull out the 24th and give Katina an opportunity to look at those, and she and I agreed that she could put them on our computers again. We can look at the 24th and perhaps revise them next time.
Okay, all right, so we will hold on the 24th. Motion to proceed on the 31st.
I'll rescind that part of the motion, yes.
Okay, all right, so we're going to
approve
approve January 31st special call meeting and February 7th special call meeting. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, approval of the bills.
Okay.
Ms. Darlene?
I had to add one last bill yesterday for recycle. That brought my total to $4,809,992.73.
I move we approve the bills as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay to approve the bills, seconded by Magistrate Bogner. Any discussion? Any of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Bills are approved. Budget transfers.
Okay. Budget transfers. General fund, I have transfers totaling $83,200. Public Works, $13,228. Joint Jail Fund, $23,000. Oil Jail Fund, $1,075. And EMS Fund, $6,000. Altogether, it totals $125,428 each.
Motion to approve budget transfers. Magistrate Bogner, second.
Second.
Magistrate Gay, any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Judge, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Back on, just real quick. I had it noted here, we went through it quickly though. Back on the bills, there was something to Patrick and Associates for $16,500. Oh, no, I'm financial audit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You good?
Yeah, these are just different to read than how they were before, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we finished that on last Monday, and so they gave us that invoice at that point in time.
Cool, thank you.
Cash transfers.
Okay, cash transfers. I have general fund to jail, general fund to EMS, general fund to fleet management, and ARPA fund back to general. Together, they total $1,634,800.
Make a motion we approve.
Motion made by Magistrate Cullen to approve, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussions? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Cash transfers are approved. Thank you, Darlene. Appreciate it. Okay, at this time, I am going to, we have initiated or implemented, however you want to say it, some milestone anniversary awards to our employees. And we will do these continuing forward at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 years of service. So I don't know if we have everyone in here. We'll start with Dana Palmer. Is she out in the hall?
Dana Palmer.
Steve, will you check in the clerk's office?
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, all right. Okay, and then we have Priscilla, Dana Palmer is with the county clerk's office. Priscilla Jennings is with the sheriff's department. I don't think she's out there either. We have Brian Wooford. Where did I see Brian at? Brian.
She's got one.
Dana, okay.
Who do you need from the sheriff's department?
Need a jailer.
Priscilla. I don't know if Priscilla is here today. Dana, come on in. Okay.
He looks good in striped coat.
Dana is with the county clerk's office, and she has completed her 5 years of service, and we would like to give her a certificate of appreciation. Stick around, we'll get a picture here in a minute. Okay, Brian out there, Brian Wooford.
Yeah, he's got your call.
And Suzanne.
I like that.
She's out there. She out there. All right, Mr. Wooford is our jailer, and he is jail employee. He has completed 20 years of service with the Boyle County government, and we want to issue you a certificate of appreciation. And then Susanna.
Oh, there she is. Barry Harmon said I get to go watch with this.
You get a gold star.
You get to watch this.
And then Emma S. Ryan, who we fondly know as Susanna, has completed 20 years of service. She is our tax administrator and our deputy judge executive. So congratulations on your 20 years. Julie, what's the best way to?
I think just right here in the art. Our best bet.
All right.
No.
Good. Act like you love it. It's a day of love. Act like you love each other.
Put her on. I love it with that logo on. All right, thank you. Got it.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll give Priscilla to her at a later. And then, if you all will allow me, Chairman's prerogative, I would like to go ahead and get our kids that are here, students that are here today, so that they can get back to school. So we're going to jump down to 5 under new business, and we have the Gifted Education Month Proclamation, which I would like to read before we recognize the students. February 2023 is Gifted Education Month, whereas our students are our greatest asset, and whereas all students must be supported, challenged, and their gifts and talents honored so that they too can help co-create new approaches and systems to launch us all into the future, and whereas gifted children can be found in all ethnic, socioeconomic, and cultural groups and provide our community with potential leadership in all areas of society, and whereas collaboration between students, families, school district staff, organizations, community members, and nations serves as the critical foundation for supporting children with intellectual, academic, creative, leadership, and artistic gifts and talents every single day. Now therefore, I, Judge Executive Trilly L. Bottom, and the Boyle County Fiscal Court, do hereby designate the month of February 2023 as National Gifted Education Month, signed this date. And we have Danville and Boyle County students here that are in the Gifted and Talented program, which I would like to offer certificates to them. And we also have, look at my notes, Christina Grubbs is the coordinator for Boyle County, Gifted and Talented. And then we have Shelley Engler, who is the coordinator for the Danville Schools, Gifted and Talented. Would you all like to say anything about your students that you brought with you?
I want to thank you for inviting us here today to recognize them. And we brought 4 middle school students. All of them are identified in leadership and other areas. So I felt that they were a good representation.
Awesome, awesome. All
I
right.
have 2 students from Tolliver, they're 4th graders, and then I have 2 Bates students, and they're identified in leadership. And so I'm really appreciate this recognition.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Well, we want to recognize students whenever we can in the community in all different areas that they serve in their schools and on academic teams and sports and just whatever, you know, we want our students to shine. So that was part of this, and with it being a Gifted and Talented Month, it was just the perfect thing for us to do. Okay, there's a proclamation for Boyle
thank you.
County, proclamation for Danville, and let's see, Walker Costello. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. Sarah Taylor, Sarah Kate, you go by Sarah Kate? Okay. Ella Wheeler, okay, and Noah Sims. All right, if you all will come right over here, we'll get a picture. And then if the coordinator wants to get in the picture. Got it? Okay, all right. Thank you all very much. Okay, and now we'll recognize our Danville students. Adrian, oh, you're going to help me with that. Polycarpio, right? All right, congratulations. Nice name. Harper Followell. Layla? How do you pronounce your last name? Bats, okay. And Charlie Kinkade. All right. If you all will come right over here, we'll get a photo with you all. I love your earrings, by the way. All right. Are we close enough? Okay. And we also have our Danville Superintendent with us today, so thanks for being here. All right, thank you all so much. Appreciate you all being here. Keep up the good work, and go big places. Yes, thank you. Thanks for bringing them. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Next, we'll have the Boyle County High School FFA. Okay. Oh, great. Thank you so much. And I think I have one too. Okay. Where y'all reaching pink glasses back here behind you? I need my eyeballs. Thank you.
Thought you were borrowing your glasses. No, you can borrow.
Okay, yeah, National FFA Week is recognized February the 18th to the 23rd, or 25th, I'm sorry, of this month. And I will read the proclamation. Whereas FFA and agricultural education provide a strong foundation for the youth of America and the future of food, fiber, and natural resources systems. And whereas FFA promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success among its members. And whereas agricultural education and FFA ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture. And whereas the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve, gives direction and purpose to these students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education. And whereas FFA promotes citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation. Therefore, I do hereby designate the week of February the 18th through the 25th, 2023 as National FFA Week. And I'll sign this for you. Today's easy to remember, Chris. Okay. Would you all like to introduce yourselves to the court and to the audience and tell what position you hold?
I'm Logan Kirkland. I'm the president this year.
Hi, my name's Maggie Smith. I'm the vice president.
I'm Gracie Eldridge, and I'm the sentinel.
I'm Emma Aguilar-Moreno, and I'm the treasurer.
I'm Clay Craig, and I'm the reporter.
And I'm Avery Holman, and I'm the secretary.
And we have some advisors and parents, maybe?
Ashton Jones with the advisors.
Advisor, okay.
And Ashlyn Kendrick is my 4th year of Boyle County.
Okay. Well, when I was in FFA way back in the day, I was the sentinel. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay, so I also prepared a proclamation because I wasn't sure you all would bring one, so you can have both of them.
Thank you.
And then I think the county clerk wants you all for a photo op, is that right? Okay.
Quick
For the ag
question,
tag?
Judge.
Yes.
How many of y'all are involved with the flowers that are grown for Constitution Square?
Oh, yeah.
So I greatly appreciate the work you guys put into that. We've gotten so many compliments since we switched over to having you all do the flowers for one of the staples of our community. So thank you very much for putting the work in, because there was doubts that the flowers would look as good as the ones we outsource, but we've always been told they've looked better. So thank you all for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Yeah.
letting me do it.
Yeah.
Can we take a picture?
Sure. Yes. And do you all have anything coming up that you all want to announce, like, that you need
Isn't there a sale coming?
public, yeah?
Fundraisers.
Yeah.
It's fundraisers?
Machinery auction.
Machinery auction.
Okay, when is that?
March 11th.
March the 11th, they're having their FFA machinery auction. Is that going to be at the showroom?
Yes.
Okay, out on the bypass. All right. Let me get in the middle. Y'all just kind of.
Circle around.
Yeah, circle around. How's that?
There's a little girl behind you that's shorter than you.
You need to get up here. Let me back up a little bit. Let me get, yeah.
You don't get away with nothing. Okay, you ready? All right, there we go. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all for being here.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Y'all can put a plug in for your ag tag program if you want to. Pay your farm tags.
Thank you.
Thank you all for allowing me to do that, so that way they can get back to school and don't have to stand out there in the hall so long.
Got the hammer.
Okay, let me get refocused here and get back on where we're supposed to be. Okay, old business. Solid waste management agreement reapprove. Would you like to talk about that, Angie?
I can.
Okay.
Basically what this is sort of fell through the cracks. Danville used to pay a certain amount over to the fiscal court for my assistance with some of their services they have. We already received their litter abatement money every year, which we, take care of that part. And also just for, just assistance through the trash services and things like that. So how much do we get?
45.
I think we put
45.
45 in
And
that
actually,
agreement,
this was
yes.
approved by the previous court, but it was never executed, so we felt it was cleaner to bring it.
They used to do it every year, but when they hired a new city manager back in
Two managers.
2019, yeah, 2 managers ago, he felt that they didn't need our services, so I didn't give them their services, so.
So now we're going to go
So now they
back.
want our service, so they have to pay for it,
Okay,
bottom line.
so that's a
Do you need another motion on this one? I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve this.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion?
Is this, I think I read in here, it's a 10-year agreement? Okay, so it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And we haven't got anything back, the past 3 years, but I didn't do nothing for the past 3 years.
We're committed for 10
Litter,
years
so.
to do pickup in the city, and then they'll pay us 45 a year for 10 years, every year.
And so that's the,
Okay.
Yeah.
that price is still
Is
a
there-
good price for what we're doing for them,
For now.
for now.
For now.
With all the raises, I wondered about that, since that was an old price, would that be good?
Yeah, that's the only thing I was wondering as well, if there's any, if there
I
would be
wouldn't
an
give that, I wouldn't give that
escalation
price for
clause.
10 years, but 10 years locks you in.
But we could.
But
get-
that's
we could-
the,
I was thinking we might need an escalation
Yeah,
clause
we
in there or
can get
something
out of
like
that at any time. I read the whole clause. It said,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody, they can, we can, and pretty easy. I think we need to just evaluate, look at that, and see.
I would
for
at least
next year.
evaluate every 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Or
10
put a-
year-
or put
I
a
don't
cost
like
of living
10-year
increase in
contracts
there.
at all,
Exactly.
nothing.
That's
So
what I
that's my opinion. So.
All right, I agree with that.
So would you rather have a 5-year and cost of living adjustments every year? How would you like that?
That's a thought.
We need to re-look at that whole thing, I
Yeah.
think. And
So-
one other question, go ahead.
So I'll go ahead and rescind my motion. I'll make a new motion that we do this contract for 5 years. Are you comfortable with 45,000 for right now?
For now.
For
But
now.
it will be a cost of living thing. You know, you have fuel and
Correct.
people
And
just can't
we'll
seem
add
to keep,
in
you
a
know.
cost of living increase.
Because we do get their litter abatement funds also.
Correct.
Which is usually around anywhere from $8,000 to $9,000. So we
But
do that.
you've done the litter part on that.
Oh, absolutely. We
You
have to
just
do at
haven't-
least
you
twice
haven't
a
done
year.
the
So
solid
anything
waste.
in the city limits, you know, goes, so.
Yeah,
Judge, to
exactly.
make sure it's recorded, I also rescind my second.
Second.
The other question I had, it just lists Alum Springs as the convention center, the convenience center. And I just wondered, is that the only one, I mean, what was that about? I just don't understand.
They own part of the land out there,
Right,
yes, because
right.
it used to be an old landfill and they
Right.
own part of the land.
All right,
That's
so
the only reason.
The only reason it's there, okay.
So to fulfill the motion, so I'll make a motion that we make this 5 years cost of living increase, and we can reevaluate after 3.
And I second.
That's good. Sounds good. That's fair.
I got it.
That's fair.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Ellis. 5-year contract, 45,000 a year. Reevaluate term after 3 years.
Sounds great.
For the cost of living increase.
Cost of living increase.
Yes.
Okay, do we want to do bills, our video, our new?
Let me,
Okay.
motion second, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, now.
All
go
right,
ahead.
I guess Bill's got it.
You want to tell a little bit about it before?
All right, some of Tom, Jason, Jamie, last year I went forward and applied for a MADVAC to help with litter. Of course, I had in the recycling grant, because most things are bottle and cans and we can recycle out of the trash. Yeah, we do anyway, so why not? So I took it to Frankfurt and they said, if you could write it up and convince us, we'll get it for you. So needless to say, I convinced them and we got it.
Excellent.
Finally, after 6 months, we received it a week ago. Has it been a week, Trilly?
Yeah,
I guess.
about a week, yeah.
So I was excited. I brought Trilly out and showed her a little bit of it. And I have an old video from when we tested it out. And I have a few pictures of Marty. We've already tried it on Airport Road next to the fence, so the windstorm had about, plenty of it out there. So I took him out there and we tried it. And we're just excited. It was $25,000.
Yeah. This is
And
awesome.
hopefully it'll be its weight in gold, I hope. So
think
if
everybody's
Bill's
gonna-
got it, we'll hopefully maybe.
Roll camera, Bill. Maybe. Maybe.
While we're waiting, I'll mention what Angie's been able to achieve on litter in the community. But I'd reiterate that in this state, and this data is what, 4 years old now?
Yeah.
$10 million is expended collecting litter in Kentucky every year. And years ago, when Toyota was thinking about coming to a state, we were one and we won it. They would not have come to Kentucky if the roads had been littered. We have that inside intelligence, and it's critical that we make sure the public understands we can save dollars, and this is a wonderful addition to cleaning up. And we also thank our detention center and the inmate crew that goes out.
This is like a big giant vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yes.
It's awesome.
So where will we
It's
use
coming.
it? I mean, will you have just specific areas you can use it?
No,
in?
we can use it. You can
Anywhere.
pretty much use it anywhere.
Non-lick.
But we can only do so much because I only have one person for
Right.
litter and I'm taking the rest of them out of recycling.
Okay.
Here we
So,
go.
this is
Now,
where we tested it
and I
at.
have
So,
one more
excuse the funny video, so, we're all, yeah, you see the suction power in it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what used to take 4 or 5 people out there bagging
Yeah.
trash,
Mhm.
Because it's not just the inmate crew that
And you
bags
have to
trash.
get somewhere in the ditch line where it's pretty thick, where you get a lot of dirt and rock and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So if it's not thick, sometimes, picking by hand's gonna be a little bit better. But, I'm excited for this piece of equipment. It originated out of the UK, and I happened to be flipping through a magazine, and I thought, So I emailed them for information, and Best Equipment out of Louisville has this piece of equipment, so that's when I
Use this for my
jumped
kids.
on
whenever-
it. So. And the biggest thing, yes, I am going to brag on Boyle County. I'm going to brag on myself for a change.
Yeah, good.
But we are the first one to get one funded as a fiscal court in the state.
In the state?
So, in the state. Now everybody wants to copy off my grant so they can get them one.
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
I have
absolutely.
one comment I wanted to ask. The convenience center, where you put the trash, the magnets that you sent out years ago that had what you can recycle? I wonder if we could put some signs on those containers that would show people. I still have people say, no, you can only put pop cans in the metal. I have a lot of people that said that, and I thought, do we have some kind of
Well, we'll talk about that in the working sessions about new signage.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right, that'd be great. I appreciate
Yes.
it.
Good job,
Angie, thank you for what you
Yes,
do,
thank
and
you.
thank you for being.
I hope you all, anybody want to come out and look, it's out today in all my workers I sent out for litter today since we were sort of caught up, so
Yeah.
you see them out there, stop and look at it.
Yeah, well, this was awesome. Thank you very much.
Judge, I'd recommend that you send that to Capo or AMCA so that maybe they'll put it on the agenda next time, because we've had seminars on litter several times in the last 4 years.
Well, I'm gonna take Trilly to the grants workship with me so
Yeah.
she can see everything.
And then you're actually going to be leading a conference.
We're doing the Kentucky Recycling Symposium with University of Pikeville.
Yeah.
And we're bringing that back with Southeast Recycling. So I'll be on the panel as a speaker. Well, I've been the president of the Solid Waste Coordinators of Kentucky for 8 years, so represent them.
Thank you so much. Okay, number 2 under old business, appoint assistant road supervisor. Mr. Johnson, would you like to say anything about this appointment?
About this appointment?
Yes, sir.
I think we made a good choice. And,
Would you like to tell who the choice is?
huh?
Can I comment?
No, you can't.
You had your time.
They my family. They my brothers.
No, we appointed Mark Gordon as a assistant, so I think we made a good choice there. And of course, we've been working together for a long time.
Yes.
So, it just worked out good that, it's kept it in-house and everything's
Yes.
all good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good. Yeah, we're glad to have you on, Mark, as assistant road foreman, and we know that you're going to make us proud and do a great job as you've always done, and continue forward. So thank you very much for accepting the position. We appreciate you.
Again.
Yeah. Are you going to head out?
Lots of good
Yeah.
choices
Yeah.
to choose from, Roger, huh?
I'm going to
But yeah.
You got a good crew out there, sir.
Yeah, we sure do. We got a real good crew out there, and and it's so far everything's all good.
Ship's not taking on water.
Yeah. Mark's got to get back to
it hasn't
work.
taken on water yet. I'm afraid when the weather
anything, feel free.
I'm afraid when the weather breaks, it's
Thank you very
gonna
much.
ship's gonna take us in some water.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it.
Hey, Angie, can you use that thing to suck up some of the dead skunks on the road?
No dead animals.
That would be.
Well, no, never mind. I'll let that go. But no, we can't do that.
Okay, Boyle County Clerk Casey McCoy. All right, pull that back over here, Casey. Come out here in the front and center. And
Don't block out the road. Couldn't see that. Couldn't see. There you go. Shoot party. That's good.
They're good.
Right there's
what you got for us today?
It's real quick, just something that when we met the last time at the special call meeting on the Epoll Books, this doesn't change nothing on when I applied for the grant, I was under the impression that we put the full amount that we were asking for, but Kentucky State Board of Elections advised me that you're only to put what they're reimbursing for at this time, which is gonna be $85,000. So that's what I had to come back before you on the resolution, so.
Just a housekeeping issue,
Just a
pretty
housekeeping
much.
issue, yes. I just misunderstood the.
I move we accept that modification to the resolution.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. And
It doesn't change. We're still on the same spot on the list to get reimbursed. So when I put it in the first time, they said that our county would stay there, so.
do you have a signed copy already? Or?
I do not.
Okay, want me to bring you one after
Yes,
court?
please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, second reading of the budget amendments. Darlene, are you handling that?
Oh, I can. This has already gone through court on the 10th of January and has been through and signed by Robert Brown of DLG. So it's whereas the County of Boyles realized unbudgeted receipts from the national opioid settlements in the amount of $175,226.95. I have approached receipts and expenditures, basically in way of reserve for transfer and bank charges, and ask that this go forward as a permanent Fund 81.
Okay, so this is ordinance number 221.23.3, I'm sorry, .29.3, and it's the second reading of the ordinance relating to budget amendment for national opioid settlements. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Magistrate Bodner made the motion, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Darlene. Okay, we will move to new business. And we have Niki Kinkade with the Art Center of the Bluegrass. Oh, visual aids. I like it. Oh, don't anybody breathe. Wow.
They're scary.
Yes.
Scary and beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm Niki Kinkade. I'm the Executive Director of the Art Center of the Bluegrass, and thank you very much for having us here today. I have a few of our capital campaign members with us, and they'll introduce themselves as they say a few words. We won't take very long, so we're here to announce and to request. So we're announcing a multi-million-dollar expansion of the Art Center of the Bluegrass. Creating jobs, cultural opportunities, tourism, and restoration of a declining building in the downtown corridor. We'll be restoring and preserving the historic building at 415 West Main Street. It's the building right next to us, the yellow building. And this will double our space and is the perfect example of adaptive reuse of historic property, and will bring more visitors to Boyle County and more creative arts programming to our region. To quote the Department of Historic Preservation is not about nostalgia, it is a forward-looking economic development and community revitalization strategy. At the heart of the expansion is a plan to establish a national glass museum that will honor the extensive artistic legacy of Stephen Ralph Powell. The museum will also feature works from other famous glass artists like Chihuly. Along with the museum will be a sales gallery. Will be the exclusive sales gallery in Kentucky for Powell's works. We've been working closely with Shelley Powell and on all the details, and she's very supportive and excited about this project. So creating this museum here in Boyle County is major, like it's a huge deal. And Senator Bledsoe and Representative Elliott, along with the Executive Director of the Kentucky Arts Council and the President of Kentuckians for the Arts, were all present for the announcement, and also very enthusiastic and supportive of this project. So we will have Milton speak a little bit.
Good morning, I'm Milton Berglund. 52 years ago, my family immigrated to Boyle County, where I've been involved in cross-country and soccer and CASA and Sister Cities and the public library and other things. I'm now recently retired from that little college at the other end of the street. When Steve Powell passed away 4 years ago, he just installed 2 of his Zoomers, those gorgeous curved glass walls, 4x8, in the Arts Center of the Bluegrass. The only public place where you can see the Zoomers, with one exception. Maker's Mark, which mounted an exhibit after Steve's death, has kept one of the Zoomers, but you can only see one there. You can see 2 here. Roy Lee Wigginton, who's in charge of special events at Maker's Mark, tells me that they still have folks today who show up. They're not interested in touring the distillery. They show up to see the Powell Zoomer, the Chihuly ceiling, and the Powell Screamer. That's the first thing you see when you go into to buy your ticket. It's just soaring and wonderful. Bardstown has some history. It has a downtown and it has a distillery. We arguably have as much or more history. Our downtown will soon be refurbished, and we have 2 distilleries. But I believe it's a world-class museum and gallery, Roy Lee told me this, that will make Danville stand out against Bardstown and every other small town in Kentucky. When Steve died, he left only about 85 or 90 first-rate museum pieces that sell for bucks. Right now, across the street, the Arts Center of the Bluegrass, we have in our possession almost every one of them. We have 82 as of yesterday. Their intense colors and vibrancy will attract and wow people not only from this region, but from across the country and from glass enthusiasts around the world, quite literally. The enormous and unexpected popularity of our temporary Powell exhibit last fall convinced us of this. The project will change the way we think about ourselves and will change the way every county in Kentucky thinks about Boyle County. This is going to be a game changer, folks. And by the way, you need a bigger space.
Yes, we know.
Good morning. I'm Diana Harmon-Gilly, and I'm on the Arts Center board. My dad was Mickey Harmon, and it's so good to be in the room today. Yesterday we visited, and I got to see the pictures with Daddy, and it was a great memory and very heartwarming. Of course, when I was in high school, he was sheriff, but that's a whole different story. But back to why we're here today. In addition to the establishment of a glass museum, the new building also allows for a needed expansion of our arts programs. We'll also restore a 3rd floor ballroom. It's my favorite part of the building. It'll be an elegant space for downtown for community gatherings, weddings, town meetings, music events, and of course larger art programs. The ceiling of the ballroom is so beautiful. It's an old tin ceiling with curving at the edge where a wainscoting would, or a crown molding would be. Just gorgeous. And we'll be able to properly restore that and just take out the pieces that are damaged, have them replicated and replaced. It will just be magnificent once it's restored. I can't wait for you all to see it. We're so excited about the space and the property and can't wait to return to the grandeur and history that it deserves. Thank you for your time. Richard?
I always love to hear Diana describe the ballroom. My name's Richard Trollinger, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with these friends today and to speak to you. As you would imagine, an effort of this magnitude requires partners, and lots of them. But it also requires that some few of the partners be leaders. Leaders whose generosity will inspire others and actually sort of certify the worthiness of the effort. We're extraordinarily fortunate in that we have a person who's expressed willingness to be one of those leaders. But this person does not live in our community. And so what this prospective donor of a commitment in the high 6 figures or perhaps 7 figures has indicated is that he wants to see some commitment from the community to this project before he makes his commitment final. As you know from the newspaper and other conversations, you know, the city of Danville has already indicated its willingness to be one of our leading partners. We would like for Boyle County, the district court, to also be a leadership partner, so that this person, and it happens to be a person I know, so I know the commitment's for real, will come on board with a major leadership gift. So that's what we're about today and talking with you all, in addition just to describing the project, but also to tell you that we have an opportunity if the community, through both of its governments, is able to demonstrate its support for this project.
So, as Richard stated, this is an extraordinary request. We realize that, but it's an extraordinary opportunity for the community. To have an internationally known glass museum creating incredible opportunities in this small Kentucky town is remarkable. As also, as Milton mentioned, arts tourism is a great complement to the Bourbon Trail. And I also know this because that is the reason I went to Maker's Mark. The only 2 times I've been there was to see the glass exhibitions. So we need the significant support of both the city and the county, and we are asking that your remaining ARPA funds could be used to support such a unique opportunity. The city of Danville will purchase the building from us. We currently own the building. Will purchase the building from us for the price we purchased it at $525,000, and they use their ARPA funds for this. The city will also support the project by regular maintenance of the building, such as the roof, elevator, fire sprinkler system, HVAC, exterior windows, and lawn care. We're here to ask the Boyle County Fiscal Court to financially support the project in a significant way, matching the city's support of $525,000 plus an additional amount up to $500,000. We will be requesting funding from the city to support some of the renovations of the building as well, including the roof, exterior tuck pointing, an elevator, and replacing the windows on the 3rd floor. The request will be around $400,000. We would love to be able to put the Boyle County Fiscal Court and your names on the plaque outside of the building commemorating your vision for Danville, Boyle County. To support, to quote Stephen Dexter, here we have not only a local nonprofit that contributes substantially to the community, but you have roles of our state legislators to relieve a local burden through the use of ARPA funds for another project that allows the city to contribute substantially and the county to participate as well. And it's so unique that when our community can move forward in this type of collaborative process, that I think it should be underscored because it happens so rarely. So I think it's a substantial lesson in community partnership, vision planning, and intergovernmental and community partnerships, which is remarkable. It's the reason young professionals should come back and be here, because it's a statement that the community values the future in a way that's going to be impactful for generations. So not every nonprofit would, end quote, not every nonprofit would make sense to support in this substantial way, but the Art Center has proven to be a financially strong nonprofit capable of running a large campaign. 20 years ago, we raised $1.7 million to renovate our current building. 4 years ago, we started an endowment with...
Hey, Niki, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
About how long do we have on this presentation? Because we do have a full agenda here.
It's done.
Okay, it's done.
$450,000 to prepare for the expansion and overall growth of the organization. We have a 5-year plan in place showing the growth in a positive trajectory. But we do not, but we do need major partners for this. We hope you will consider using your ARPA funds to significantly support this project. We understand this is longer than a typical presentation.
I understand
But it's a major request, and it was important that we share
And
all of the information.
And I agree with that, and that's why, if anything, I'm going to make a motion that we go ahead and table this request, because this is something that we need to think about more than just a weekend that we've had. Utilizing remaining ARPA funds on one single project, that's really, that stuff is meant for infrastructure. The city of Danville was able to help you with their portion of it, because the county gave away a good part of its ARPA funds to the city for infrastructure on the water down over in Perryville, out in Junction, and we have a lot of other things that we actually really need to utilize those funds for. So I think that it would be in the best interest of the court and the constituents and taxpayers that we really take some time to look at this instead of doing any action on it right now. So
There's a motion made to table the funding request for the Art Center new building. Is there a second?
Judge, I'll.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Magistrate Harmon seconded the motion. This motion is not debatable, therefore there can be no discussion. It's immediate vote. All those in favor of tabling this item of business, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Shirley, what does that mean?
Well, do you all want to set a timetable for when this will be brought back up and discussed?
I didn't put one in my motion, so I
Does
think.
anybody want to make a motion to set a
I move that we
date?
discuss, that we have a better discussion about this in public at the next meeting.
Okay, so Mr. Gay makes a motion to bring this back to the table at the next meeting. Magistrate Bodner seconded the motion. All those in favor, aye.
Well, excuse me, that one does allow us discussion.
Discussion, I'm sorry,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
I concur with Magistrate Cullen. We've expended something like 80+% of the ARP funds already. We have 5 distinct communities out there that have needs, and we have shared a very substantial amount of the ARPA funds already with the city. I'm a passionate supporter of the arts. My wife and I have been thrilled to get 3 of the paintings that were up for auction a couple of years ago when we attended that wonderful reception and auction. So there's no doubt that we want to help in a way we can. The gentleman in the corner mentioned that we need a bigger space. That's under consideration for the public good, because we had 26 cattlemen in here 3 years ago, and I'm surprised the fire marshal didn't kick us out, because that would be a huge expenditure. I'm chair of the jail committee, and we're looking at the potential of a $30+ million expense to the county, and hopefully in a bonding situation where it's not a hit to the taxpayer. I guess in an overall sense what I'm saying is, yes, I'm supportive. I don't know, as Magistrate Gay said, with 4 or 5 days of receipt of this information, to make such a major consideration of funding would be awkward at best. We have 4 of 7 of our court who are brand new members. They've never seen the budget process. We're meeting today on adjournment with all the division directors of the taxpayers, those who provide all the services throughout the county, for the first time to talk about their budget needs. So 4 of the 7 have never seen that process before. We have a long time between now and our budget coming due in Frankfurt, and I think we do need a very healthy and vigorous discussion, perhaps as in the motion in our next meeting, so that we can all have our eyes wide open on what we can do to support this tremendous program. Thank you, Judge.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would echo some of that. I think that we do have a lot of, as they said, big ticket items, but I think we do need to focus on this being the game-changing type of project that this is. you know, when she said 20 years ago, I was like, oh man, was it that long ago? Because I actually was on the city commission when we initially became the catalyst for the art center becoming the art center. And I remember the Chief Justice of the Kentucky Supreme Court actually writing a scathing letter to the editor of our local paper chastising the city commission for making that decision. And so sometimes you just have to step into that leadership role and make these decisions. So we need to find a way to participate and be a part of this project. As all have indicated, it may not be to the level that the city is able to at this point in time, because I do think we have some, and we need to evaluate in these next 2 weeks what our encumbrances are on our ARPA funds and how much we do have left to work with of those funds. But I'm hopeful that we can have some of those funds go towards this this exciting, and it will be an economic development tool. It will drive people to this community. It will make people want to come here and live here. It will make people want to come here and visit this community. And so those are the type of decisions that we are tasked with making along the way. And I'm hopeful that we'll come up with a way to be supportive of this exciting project.
Thank you, Magistrate.
I'd like to add, being a new magistrate, I'm a little overwhelmed by the processes still, but I don't want to overpromise and underprovide in this situation, because it is a tremendous project, as Magistrate Ellis had pointed out, and I've been an ardent and passionate supporter of the arts as well, and it is a worthwhile project, and I think it has great benefit and value to the community, but I don't want to, as I said, promise more than we can deliver, so we do need a little more time to look at it and see what we can actually help, how are we going to help. So.
Thank you, Magistrate Slater. Any other discussion?
Until next week. Next meeting.
Thank you all for coming and doing the presentations. We will take all of this into consideration the next 2 weeks and come back at our next meeting, and we'll put you back on the agenda for February the 28th, and hopefully by that time we can reach some sort of agreement. I see it as a economic development really good adventure. I'll put it that way. Because what is good for Danville is good for Boyle County, and what is good for Boyle County is good for Danville. And I only see this project as being something that is going to draw in tourism. It's going to draw people into the community. Not only are they going to spend their money here in Danville, they're going to go to our outlying areas of Parable, over to Junction, down to the Forkland Community Center. And they're going to be spending money all over the county, not just in Danville. So I see it as an economic development boost for our community, and we will put our heads together these next 2 weeks and starting our budget cycle and just see where we are as far as ARPA funding is concerned, what's left, what projects that we still need to fund that are already earmarked for ARPA funds, and come back in 2 weeks. But thank you all for being here, and we need to vote on this motion.
What's the Arts Center's major fundraiser of the year? Like, I know like CASA has like their gala.
Our pie is very well divided. So 25 to 30% will come from program registration, 25 to 30, and I'm making up these numbers, but it's really divided nicely. Private donations, grants, program registration.
So have you thought about doing a major fundraiser? Because I feel that with the amount of people in the area that support the arts, that they may come along and support this without having to go through the tax dollar funds that could be used for other things, such as improvements that we very much
Well,
need.
2 things to that. We're asking for ARPA funds, not tax dollars.
It's all tax dollars. ARPA funds is not free money that just was made up. It's tax dollars. So.
And yes, we do fundraisers. We have all sorts of fundraisers, as Magistrate Ellis mentioned. We had an art auction that he participated in. But our 20th year is coming up this year, and we will have multiple fundraisers. We have a tea planned, we have a preservation lunch on March 4th. We have lots of things planned. We don't have one big gala because we have so many different areas of interest for our community. So we do a lot of different things. We also find that one big gala doesn't always bring in enough funds. Takes a lot of effort, a lot of money. So that's how we do it.
I think with the space that you guys have, that you're missing an opportunity to hold something very large. I mean, I've seen what some of the other organizations in this area are able to do with a larger function. So, I mean, given the space that you have, the amount of
our tiny art show is coming up in March. I'm sorry, you're catching me off guard because we have so many fundraisers that we do, but we don't have one.
I'm just saying of one that would enable more people to actually contribute private dollars. You know,
You do good gift giving.
Yeah, we do good gifts. We had an event last night. Last night we had an event. We were only able to fit 101 or 10 people in our building, so we can't fit more than that. Now, if they're standing there for the tiny art, we could fit like 200 in that space, but that we wouldn't want to fundraise it.
I'd like to echo Magistrate Cohen on a gala event, and if you made it black tie, I'd have to go find one. I'd probably have to come in my 25, 30-year-old suit. But quite seriously, with my knowledge of Mr. Trollinger's capabilities at Center College and with the coordination of our community, your space might be limited there, but right across the hall or road, we could have something at the campus. And there are folks all across this state and Center graduates all across the world who might be interested in this
and that's exactly
tremendous
what we're
project. And that's why I'd echo the fact that you're in your 20th year, a gala event,
We are
black
doing
tie.
And we can't wait for the space up above in our new ballroom to be able to have more people. That's one of our big things.
And if I could just say, please don't put this in the minutes, but I would love to do a hard hat event before we renovate the space and give everybody an opportunity to see it. Niki will probably kill me now, but an opportunity to see it in its present state and see how beautiful it already is, and then come back for the reveal. It'll be magical. Magical.
Is the ballroom space, would it be conducive to fiscal court meetings on the Saturday?
It's large enough.
Maybe.
So that would be good, and that would solve one of our problems.
I think that's a valid point, though. Is that, I mean, as you see, we have very little room for the taxpayers to come in and hear their magistrate speak. We have a lot of things that have been neglected over the years that, unfortunately, we're tasked that we have to deal with. So, an opportunity of ARPA funds doesn't come along very often, and so we need to make sure we're good stewards and use that money wisely. That's why it wasn't spent all at one shot. We held on to some of it. So.
Something that we can look at too is that we can look at a sponsor opportunity for one of these projects that's going on. We can also look at payments made over an extended time, over several fiscal years. You know, it's an option. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's an option.
But if I see the request, it's not for just $500,000. It's for $1 million plus.
Yeah.
Is that what I saw? Is that what I heard from?
Well, that's the request.
That's the possibility.
That doesn't mean that's what we have the money for. So I'm just saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I also think, and the point that Mr. Trollinger made, because I agree, fundraising is important, and you want to do all those ongoing kind of fundraising things. But in this type of project, it is important, and I think those large donors like to see that the community is committed to this project, and that the community understands the importance of this project. And it's important that we, as a community, do understand the nature and importance of this project, and that way that message can be conveyed to those big donors that are going to be needed to make this project happen.
It's important, but that contributor doesn't live in this county.
That's why it's even more important.
Well, our constituents live in this county, and they expect us to be good stewards with the tax dollars that we have and the opportunities that we have to make sure we're fixing everything before we.
And that big donor should be able to assume that since the city has donated, that's a good commitment right there. They should take that.
I think it's important to see it from both.
Yeah.
So, 'cause,
I can
again,
see
I want to
that.
remind everybody that the city of Danville is in Boyle County.
Of course.
And the city of Danville is one of the major drivers of Boyle County.
And one of the major consumers of Boyle County. We discussed it in our EMS meeting this morning. 90% of the EMS runs,
98, he said.
well, 90% of the runs are in Boyle County, I mean in Danville. And so our people in Forkland, our people in Mitchellsburg, our people in Junction City subsidize the city of Danville for EMS basically. They get the
Okay,
best.
this is a whole different discussion.
Yeah, they get the best.
In
Well, if you're
interest-
gonna open up this can of worms, we're gonna talk about.
In interest of time, we will continue this discussion.
And we're
at
happy
a
to
different-
provide any information or to attend
How long
any
does it take
meeting
for
if
somebody to
you
get
helpful
it?
to give
So
information
nobody
prior
in
to the
Thomas
next
District?
meeting.
And if you have any
How long does
other,
it take for the ambulance? How long does it take for the
Master
ambulance?
Cullen.
He opened it, he opened it
Okay,
up.
we
so-
will continue this at a different time. We will, if you have any additional information that you would like to provide to the magistrates, then just feel free to email it to me or Julie, and we will get it to them. But thank you all for being here.
Thank
You all have a
you.
great day.
Thank you very much.
And please be careful.
my
Yes.
We
I'm
leave
holding
this
my
here, but
breath.
you're so crowded, we're afraid somebody will knock it over. They'll sign the place.
All right, next, Ethics Commission,
Judge.
Rebecca Kernodle.
Could we have them on it, I guess maybe the very end of our next
Yes,
meeting?
that
so
would
way
be dandy.
people do not have to wait as long?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that recommendation.
Good idea.
All right, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Good morning, I'm Rebecca Kernodle, Chair of the Boyle County Ethics Commission, and we have our newest member here with us today, Denise Kurtzinger. So, the Ethics Commission has come to an issue where we need your advice and direction regarding the financial interest forms. KRS 65.003 and our ordinance 280.2 state these financial interest forms must be completed by, and I quote, all elected county officials, nominees, and candidates for elected office, board appointments, and employees with procurement authority exceeding 1,000 per annum, as well as members of county agencies with procurement or regulatory authority and attorneys hired by boards and agencies. So these financial interest forms are filled out for the prior calendar year. The method of financial disclosure serves as an important purpose to prevent possible conflicts of interest. It's designed to protect the individual and the general public. So hopefully the task of completing these forms acts as a reminder that in certain situations it may be necessary to recuse oneself from the discussion or decision at hand. So with the recent revision of the ordinance, it's been determined that many more individuals need to complete the form. The number of individuals that will submit financial interest forms has grown from 82 persons for the reporting year of 2021 to 120 for the reporting year of 2022. And I'd like to share some stats for the reporting year of 2021. Of the 82 forms initially sent, 40 were either not returned or returned incomplete. That means 49% of the persons required to submit a financial interest form received a second notice. Of the 40 individuals, or 49% that received that second notice, 21 still have not completed a form to this date. These forms were due March 30th of 2022. So I'm here to seek your preference for handling this issue and imposing penalties. Our ordinance states the penalties for noncompliance. And in our ordinance in section 22 of ordinance 280.2, it states, I'll read this, any person who fails to file the statement or refuses to remedy a deficiency in the filing identified in the notice under subsection A within the time period established in the notice, absent showing a good cause, shall be guilty of a civil offense and shall be subject to a civil fine imposed by the commission in the amount not to exceed $25 per day up to a maximum total of $500. Any civil fine imposed by the commission under this section may be recovered by the county in a civil action in the nature of debt if the offender fails or refuses to pay the penalty within a prescribed period of time. So the maximum penalty of $25 a day was also stated in our original ordinance of 280.0, but there was no maximum amount of $500 specified. So this is not a new regulation. But as the volume of those required to file has grown and evolved, enforcement is no longer feasible without additional support. We, the Ethics Commission, certainly do not want to impose penalties without the full knowledge and support of the Fiscal Court and the County Attorney's Office, nor did we want to neglect the regulations of the ordinance. In the next few weeks, we will be submitting a letter with the financial interest forms for the reporting year of 2022. As stated, we currently have a list of 120 names or positions that will be required to submit a form. So the Ethics Commission is working on ways to streamline the distribution and collection of this next wave of financial interest forms by asking for the assistance of the chairperson or designated official from each board, commission, and committee that's required to complete the form. The financial interest forms would be distributed to the chair. Then he or she would be responsible for collecting the completed forms and or returning those that are not complete. The Ethics Commission would provide instruction to the chairpersons on what a completed form should look like. The chair would submit all completed forms to the Ethics Commission by a date to be determined. Hopefully, by adding another level of accountability with the chairpersons, the percentage of non-compliant or incomplete will be significantly reduced. So our questions today are, 1, do we implement the penalties as stated in section 22 of the ordinance for the non-compliant individuals for the reporting year of 2021? Do we proceed from this point forward and impose penalties for non-compliance for the reporting year 2022? And what office will be responsible for collecting these penalties? I'm here today for the Ethics Commission first to seek your counsel and then to ask for the full support of the financial court, the fiscal court, the judge's office, and the county attorney in this matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot of work to follow up on these. I think you don't realize how hard it is. We have spreadsheets, we have checklists, we have boxes. I mean, it's not an easy process to keep up with. So when they're delinquent, it just exacerbates the whole system we've created.
Are we the custodian
Yes.
of all this?
Yes, they're in the clerk's office in a box, but we have to accept them.
They come here first.
Yes, and then I don't know for them, they go right to the ethics board. But every month when they meet, we have to go through the checklist of who's submitted this month and who's behind and who's going to send a letter. It's not an easy process. So just by blatantly ignoring this requirement, it is costing us staff time, postage, volunteer time that could be spent on other things because they just don't want to give the information. And we don't ask for anything other than who are you financially vested with. We don't want to know how much you make. We don't want to know what your investments are.
That's the problem
It's a
that I struggle
very
with. It's a
simple
very basic.
Here's the issue that I've heard from most people is the fact of who has access to this information.
By Kara's, it's in the clerk's office.
Public record.
Public
Public record. See,
Yes.
I've heard other conflicting things, and it might have been from planning and zoning attorney, I think, that said that it goes, like the request to see them goes through the ethics committee.
Yes.
You can't just blatantly go in there and have somebody say, I want to
That's
see
not
these
true.
stuff.
No, when I talked to him, he really didn't understand. I've spent a lot of time with their attorney. He now understands. I've sent him Paris. I've sent him our ordinance. They are for public inspection because the public does want to know. If you vote, and I'll use DOE, I use them all the time. If you vote for a copier at DOE and you're a shareholder, the public deserves to know that. So that's why they're over there. But the magnitude of growing, now we have all the SPGs, special purpose government entities, all of our, Constitution Square, every little committee.
All of our board committees.
Everybody has to do this. And it's been this way forever, but we just never enforced it until I got here. And, we had the
And again, they're not
planning
really,
and zoning.
they're not really looking for any,
No.
necessarily any financial
Yeah.
information. It's just, do you have an over $10,000 involvement with this entity or whatever?
It asks some specific stuff
Where's
in
your
there.
bank? We don't ask what your balances are, we
Yeah,
don't ask
just
for
the
your
name.
account number. You know, who do you
It's to
have?
see if you have a conflict of interest.
Right.
With the board that you're serving on,
There's no
is there a
financial-
conflict?
And Rich Ornstein has put out stuff that this is something we have to do. It's not like we're just being more difficult. I mean, our CAECO attorney says it's required that we do this, so.
On the front end of my next comment, I pray and I think that I have turned in my file in the past. But Counselor, in a situation like this, what's the total, 100 and how many?
20.
Well, we will distribute 120 coming
Okay.
up.
First, I'd like to know the history, because I know from conversations similar to Magistrate Cullen that many people have balked at filling this out. And again, praying that I'm in there 100% for 4 years, and I think I remember this form. Is there any grace? Because we're talking about thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars over a period of time predating any of us sitting on this board, where the reach back probably hasn't hit the statute of limitations, and a lot of upset people who, for whatever reason they didn't file, would be getting
I
a
think we're
done.
just looking at last year. We're not gonna go back and audit, are we?
We're just asking, how should we proceed with 2021 reporting year?
Yeah.
Which were due of March of 2022.
Well, then I'd repeat my question, Counselor. Knowing that it's more than a slap on the wrist to receive that next letter, and it should be, even if I get one or two or three or four, could we give grace and not fine these people unless there are future?
Does our letter advise if they don't do this, it's going to be $25 a day?
Yes.
That mounts up unbelievably.
It could be up to 20,000.
I mean, no one's above doing this. I mean, if they don't want to submit to this, then they shouldn't serve on a committee. They shouldn't serve public office. So that frustrates me.
I'd like to point out on that comment that volunteerism is at an all-time low.
Yep.
And it is hard to find people to serve on these committees.
Very good point.
That was where I
And
was
now-
kind of getting
yeah.
to, is that when we sit in various meetings, when we were sitting in the Economic Development Corporation meeting, and we discussed this, that people want to serve their communities, but they feel like these are a violation of their privacy.
And I understand the law's the law.
Yeah.
You know, and it
And
is what it is, so.
From my investment advising background, I have had to fill these out. I have to disclose way more than just this, and always have. But I understand where it's kind of like, I just want to serve on this board and help out. I didn't understand it was going to be all of this that I have to do.
And I get that. I mean,
It's hard to find good people, and then get them to serve, especially when a lot of them don't trust government.
but also we want to make sure that they're serving for the right reason.
Correct.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And that's kind of the.
For me, it's always, I feel it out, it's not a big deal. It's part of what I do and what I have to do, so.
I mean, I think. I mean, we through this meeting today showing that we mean business, and I wouldn't recommend going back in time, but from here forward, imposing those fines if people refuse to turn in their reporting within a certain, within the.
I guess I'm wondering if we shouldn't revisit, I mean, $25 a day is a lot. I'm thinking that, it maybe just a $25, I don't know, it's gotta be
Or
significant.
what about
but-
if they don't turn it in, they just don't serve on the committee?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
they have
an interesting concept.
They have to be, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, it still has to get turned in. So you need to make sure they're willing to turn it in.
Yeah, if they don't turn it in, they just don't serve.
I mean, I think you should, or you could make it, or, like elected officials and so forth, might be subject to the $25 fine. Volunteers or whatever may be subject to, like as Trilly said, if you don't turn it in, you're not going to be on the committee.
Director Rogers, did you
I just wanted to say that I had no idea that form had anything to do with the Ethics Commission. I didn't really know what it was. I just always filled it out. The only other thing I would suggest is that there's some sort of receipt for me that when I turn it back into whoever, saying, since there is gonna be a penalty, that I turned it in on this day, I don't know what happened to it after, because we're all busy, things could get misplaced. Some kind of something saying, well, I turned it in, and,
Good point.
That's a good document.
How about $10 a day, not to exceed $200? And if we do that, do we have to go through and change? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, that's something I thought about. That's gonna be a much bigger can of worms to open up right there.
And the $25 has been there in the ordinance, since the
Yeah.
original ordinance.
It's never been enforced ever.
It's never been enforced.
Well, I think we just have to have more communication with the directors on the board to make sure that, maybe we just have a training, you get the various boards that report to us, and you bring the chairs of that in here so they can understand, because I think a lot of them don't understand the whole reasoning behind it. So
The other thing I would suggest, is there a way, when somebody, obviously we need to get all those that are on the boards educated in this, but when somebody is being nominated, is there a way that they, just part of that process is they complete the form?
We can implement that, yes. We can implement
Subject
that.
to receipt
Yes.
of the form.
Yes, that's something we can do going forward.
Okay.
So what's the court's desire? Do you want to, for the 2021?
So do you want us to impose penalties for 2021, or do you want us to just from this point forward, in this next wave of 2022 that we will be sending out?
Yes. And it's always a year behind, right?
You always report for the previous calendar year.
Yeah, I was too.
I would say, given the fact that there's a new court with majority of new people, I think we kind of have to start forward, not in the past.
Is that your motion?
Sure.
Okay. All right, motion by Magistrate Cullen to start with the 2022 year for forms to be turned in. Help me remember what the name of this.
Financial
disclosure. Yeah, financial disclosure statement. Okay, we'll start with the 2022 year. Magistrate Bowden made the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. That everything?
We'll leave it at that, and the only other question was, do you
We
want
will schedule
who would be
a
responsible
training.
for collecting those penalties, but hopefully, if we get the chairs involved and some training, that we can have
I think
those
getting the
decisions.
chairs involved will
Yeah,
hopefully
it'd be
help.
fiscal board that the checks would come to the
Ultimately,
board.
ultimately with Chris Herron, so.
But we will get that training scheduled and be in touch and let you know when that's going to happen.
Counselor,
It's
with
not a
those
criminal
funds,
thing, so it won't.
Counselor, would those funds in the future go to our general fund?
Yes.
Thank you.
Those are not ones we hope to collect.
That's correct.
Yeah, we're not looking to make money. We're looking to.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Forms filled out.
Okay, at this time, we are going to have airport board reappointments, and I would ask Glenn Ball and Shay Pendygraft to stand. Is Shay here?
No.
Okay.
That's great.
Have you
All
completed
right.
your financial disclosure form?
Have you turned in your financial disclosure form, Mr. Ball?
No.
As a person that serves on many boards, I'm sure he's
Yeah.
got plenty that he's filled out. So.
And he is a longtime member of the airport board, and we appreciate you serving on that board and your continued service for reappointment. This is for a term ending February 28th of 2027.
Sounds good.
And I'll ask for a motion to
I'll make that
reappoint
motion.
Glenn Ball and Shay Pendygraft. Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your service. Sorry we kept you so long.
You want a picture?
And we'll get a picture. Yeah.
Mr. Ball, I just spent the last week down at
Orlando Executive
doing some flying.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me take it.
Downtown Orlando.
Yep.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
I stayed downtown too while I was down there.
Interesting Suites?
No, it was the Home to Suites.
Okay.
I was there for 7 days, so yeah.
All right.
Next is our
Thank you.
Birthplace of
Thank you,
Kentucky
sir.
appointment, and that would be Miss Brenda Willoughby Brown.
And we do not have any money, so I do not have to fill out a financial disclosure. Am I?
Yours
Are
is
we
very
good?
easy to fill out.
It's an advisory
You just put,
appointment
just put in.
position.
NA,
Do
NA,
I still just
You fill
need
it out, you just
Yep.
put
Yeah,
in.
stuff
Yes.
going out.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You don't
I'll
need
help
to.
you.
There's no financial.
As we all know, Miss Brenda was the director of the Constitution Square for a long time and has taken a little leave of absence, and now she's back with us, and we appreciate you coming back and serving on the
So we
committee.
need to do some work.
Yeah.
Your term ends February 28, 2026, and I'll ask for a motion for the appointment
So
of
moved.
Brenda Brown. All right, motion, second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? There you go. Hopefully I'll live through this.
All right, you ready?
Thank you. All right, thank you, ma'am.
And Chris, side note, Ronnie's not happy about this.
We appreciate you.
But we don't care.
Dr. Ross, you're up, sir.
All right, I'm gonna take about 50 minutes of your time.
I think you've earned it.
Danville School Superintendent, Dr. Greg Ross, please
I
proceed.
promise I will be very quick, and I'm not asking for anything. I just want to make sure we're something. So there's a program, as you guys are aware, we've been hit pretty heavy with mental health across the country after COVID. And I became aware of a program called Solace, and I introduced this program to Judge Boggs and Mayor Atkins. And Danville Independent Schools, we're going to do this anyway. We're doing this for our students. It's something that I feel like it's pretty imperative that we attack this head on. But what this program does, it's like an Uber for mental health counseling. And one of the biggest things that they mentioned to us is, and I don't have the accurate numbers, but over 70% of the people that reach out about counseling services, they eventually quit because lack of being able to actually get a certified counselor, or the whole process of feeling a little bit embarrassed about the process. So what we're looking at, Solace is a program that provides immediate mental health counseling. They will be in contact with someone within 12 hours, no matter what, 12 hours. And it's something that can be done from an administrative standpoint, where I can actually prescribe it to an employee for their betterment, but they can also do it completely confidential. And the cool thing about it is, if we provide this service to our students, their families also get the service. So I was talking to Dr. Jason Radford. He's the superintendent of Oldham County, and he's worked with his fiscal court to make this a county thing. But just so they got it in August. We're talking about August to November, because he sent me these numbers in November. August, November, they had 25 referrals from school counselors and MHCs, I'm not quite sure what that is. Mental health counselors. 23 students, 2 faculty members, 18 families initiated cases, 121 inbound calls, emails, and video chats from the community care companion, 636 outbound calls, emails, and texts by the care team. 40% of these were adults 18 through 64, 33% were adolescents 12 to 17, 26% were children 3 to 11, 68% were female, 31% were male, and the top 3 concerns were anxiety, depression, trauma. So as you can see, it's a great data collection tool as well, but it provides a lot of support. So what I'm asking, I'm also reaching out from the guidance of Judge Bob and Mayor Atkins. I'm also reaching out to Boyle County to see if this is something they will take on. But obviously the concern is that it's not just a school issue. It's a community issue. And because of that, we won't cover folks that don't have kids. If you don't have kids, we won't be able to cover them. You know, and I see this as something also, even from a state agency standpoint, it's something that will be a very powerful resource in just employability, maintaining workers' attendance, and worker care. So I'm just throwing this out there as something that we as a community, Danville Boyle County community, could partner on and consider using Solace moving forward. I don't get anything from it but the assurance that our kids and our families are in a better place. So that's all. That's my spiel. I hope you take a look at it, and I'll be in contact with Judge Bottom, and if you have any questions, I can direct you directly to the gentleman that I talked to. His name is Mr. Tipton, and he presented a very, very strong presentation to myself and our community leaders. However, it is a 30-minute process, so I know if I got him in front of me, he'd talk way too much. So that's what I have, and if you have any questions or anything I can answer, please let me know.
No, this is great, and you know, this is one of the areas that we really need to help our citizens. You know, mental health is a huge issue. We have a great resource with Mr. Dunn, but if we can get him ahead of self-medicating and other things would be fantastic. So I appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Mr. Superintendent, after a long career in healthcare administration, this is almost a two-part issue. Number one, the need for something found within the school system to be communicated to the parents, and number two, if there is a problem of infinite varieties at home, the HIPAA and all the other complications of not informing the parents because it could be an indictable circumstance. I'd sure like to know more about the ramifications of either, because obviously we don't want to get in a litigious situation where a child is in care without the parents and that knowledge, unless there are some serious consequences of what's going on at home, and then you would get with law enforcement or whomever else. So I hope that's
so
all.
they cover all FERPA. I mean, and you gotta remember, this is something that's been vetted throughout the country.
Yeah.
But they cover Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, and the only time this would really become an issue is if that child was 18 or older. Because then, even when it comes to report cards, parents gotta have permission to get that information. But other than that, parents would be consulted through the whole process. So from a school perspective, there's two ways we could use it. You know, we could say a student is dealing with some negative ideations, and we need to address this from a school perspective. And we would, just like we would create a discipline referral or behavioral plan, a behavior intervention plan, this may be part of it. However, it's also something where families could do it independently. If a child was in crisis and they chose to reach out to them, obviously, at some point they would say, well, okay, we got to contact the parent, you know. So, but yeah, it's been covered.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you bringing this information to the court, and we'll take it into consideration, Dr. Ross. Have a great day.
How's the new
Thank
school
you.
year? I mean, I know. Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Hear nothing but good stuff about Danville schools. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much.
All right, gotta take care.
Thanks.
I'm going to take another chairman's prerogative. We can have Jailer Wooford.
Have you been out of the dark too long? You want to come up with some light?
Jailer Wooford, I apologize. We got a little
You got a busy day.
heated discussion. So. I meant to get you in a little bit earlier.
That's
so.
fine. I do have one question. I know the last fiscal court always wanted me, every time I come to court, to give them an update on our numbers and condition of the building and stuff. Did you all want me to continue that?
Of course.
So, okay. So right now, we are currently at 208 inmates, 74 Boyle, 37 Mercer, state is 92, and I'm holding 4 for other counties. The past 72 hours, we've booked in 17, released 11. We have 64 on temp release. And as far as the building maintenance goes, I spent about $8,000 on fixing our doors. The electronic system, the doors would all pop open. Probably about $6,000 on the walk-in freezer, mixer, and oven issues we've been having out there. And then I just want to give a update on my work crew, because I've had several magistrates call. Right now, I'm at the point I do not have anybody I can pull off the floor to do that. I just have one part-time person doing that position. And I will lose him for a couple of months when Keenan starts up. So I do not have, I know some of you all have asked about some projects. Until I can get my staffing up, I'm probably not going to be able to provide that service at the same level I have in the past. So just be patient with me, and if we can get to it, we'll get to it and do what we do the best we can. So that's on it.
So there's nobody from solid waste that can help fill that in, or?
No, they have to be sworn.
I can swear.
Yeah.
I guess we're at 'em. I don't usually do that, but I'm happy
Well, the mag
to help out.
might be something that we can utilize more, you know, to go around and do something.
So, hopefully, I think we're interviewing 5 this week, but, we might get one out of the bunch that we can hire, so.
What would help you get all 5, Joe?
I think if we get pay raises, every jail I talk to is having the same issues. They're all looking at increasing their pay. I think that's a big plus because, I'm competing with North Point. They're paying $22 an hour and have hazardous duty retirement. And I think that's a big issue.
So a new museum's not going to help your situation?
Probably not.
Okay, all right. Just want to
Unless you want to build it onto the jail too. We need a new jail. So
I like the garden you guys have out there, to be honest.
So Judge, I think the first thing on there is I need to get my new policy approved. And basically, we're just making a change to the policy. We're changing the style holster we're using, and I have to have that in my policy, and I have to have it approved by the end of the month.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay to approve the policy and procedure changes, seconded by Magistrate Harmon. Is there any discussion?
Now, that holster, is that for the safety of the officer?
Yes. We're changing styles. Basically, the holster we had, it just had a finger press here release, and there's some studies done. There were some accidental misfires. So the one we're going to, you actually has a couple more steps. You have to rock it forward. It's a safer holster. So,
thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
all right, next I think is the New Vista contract. We need to get in. Of course, New Vista provides our mental health. One of the things we're changing, and we kind of learned this from the past first 4 years, is we don't actually have a TV screen or a telehealth monitor on the wall. And the reason we're doing that is if we had a female inmate and it was a qualified mental health professional, was a male, come and speak with her, she may not want to share because of her past trauma, whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse. So this way they can actually have somebody in Lexington, it'll be the same person to meet with that individual each time, so they can kind of do a telehealth visit with her. So that's the only thing changing in it. I think the price goes up, which that was in the original contract. I think it goes up 3% each year. So I would recommend the fiscal court renew that contract.
We'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Cullen to renew the contract with New Vista, seconded by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Sorry, that was Magistrate Ellis that made the second.
All right,
next.
Next on the list is the healthcare contract. So we've been in meetings with Ephraim McDowell, and we have both mutually agreed to terminate that contract and move on. So I know myself, Trilly,
Would you mind closing that door, please?
and Dan from the hospital have all signed. I don't know if you all need to approve that or how we need to do on that, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve terminating that contract.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by
With
Magistrate
Ephraim.
Cullen to approve termination of the contract with Ephraim McDowell Health, seconded by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion?
Just glad that there was a very good amicable meeting
Yes.
of that, so thank you, Julie, and everyone
Yes.
involved in that meeting.
Yes, everybody was on the same page. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, so I'm here now to recommend 3C to take over our health care, and I have both of the gentlemen here with me, the owners. I'll let you all introduce yourselves.
I'm Scott Wilson, the physician and co-owner of 3C. I'm Blake Wiseman, pharmacist by trade, but kind of handle all the contractual stuff and as when it comes to all this.
So if you all, did everybody get a copy of the contract to look over? So, one of the good things about this contract is they're writing specifically for us, is my staff or their family. If they cannot, say they have something acute and they can't get in to see their doctor for a couple of days, they can actually come out and see our nurse and then the practitioner do that. And we'll take care of that. But also, as they say on TV, but wait, there's more. They've also agreed to see any county employee on that. So let's say Roger's here and he comes in, he's got the flu or feels like he's getting the flu, and he can't get in to see his doctor for a couple of days. He can come out and see our nurse and everything, and they're willing to see him, and they're not going to charge the county for that.
Did you all get a copy of that contract?
I don't have one.
We don't have a copy of it.
I emailed it, I know.
That's the best,
I think Barry, I know Barry had, you got a copy of it, didn't you?
I just saw the new Vista stuff.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Is it on for the 28th?
Yeah, this one, I emailed it, I know. Well, I emailed it, that's our email system, that's another thing we need to do.
Email, Jay.
But if you don't have, but here, they're here if you have any questions. We should have been two parts of it. It should have been.
Counselor, have you seen it?
No, because nobody's been sending me the.
I know I've sent it to Chris. I know I've sent it. Now whether you got it or not.
Have you?
Okay, here it is. You sent it to Ted, Sarah Steele, Trilly Bottoms, me, Chris, Ted, Sarah Steele, Tom Ellis, and Jamie Gay on 2/2/23 at 3:55.
Sounds like we're getting a lot for our money, so is the money?
The money's gonna be less.
Less than what it has been?
Yes.
Okay.
They're gonna provide 24/7 coverage, just like we've had been. If y'all have any questions about it, like they're here.
How many jails you serve already in Kentucky?
I think we're up to 27. This will be 28. Somewhere right around in there.
Across the state?
Across the state.
We're currently the largest provider by inmate volume or by county facilities of county correctional within the state of Kentucky.
We roughly manage about 8,000 to 12,000 inmates, give or take, across the state.
And you're located in Western Kentucky?
Yeah, so I'm from Marshall County, is where I live, and he's from Graves County. So when we started this, we started this just with the intent of doing a couple jails, to be quite honest. And 4 years later, we've grown pretty progressively, and it's been pretty fun, to be quite honest with you. So,
would you be hiring people locally, medical?
For sure. We want to try to hire local people to fill all of those positions, and any of the current people there, if they want to stay, we'd be glad to keep them.
And so the contract, is it a yearly contract or is it over so many years?
It'll be a yearly, it renews every year. Of course, they'll have 60 days for the hospital and then to make the transition. Mary's here from McDowell. She is their manager for the clinics.
Yeah.
And so if you remember the last time, when the hospital came out in the other company, it was a bad situation. They left early and left a bad mess for the hospital. So I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think they're going to be able to work and make a smoother transition.
I just appreciate that Ephraim and you all got together and you settled it, and it's good for everybody.
We're here to support the transition with them, as I've told Brian and Ms. Bottom when we all met. Whatever is needed, whether we're looking at April 10th, it's April 20th, we're going to be here to support them and have a smooth transition for whatever they need. If any of our current staff is interested, I've had the discussion with both of them. They're more than welcome to speak with them. If this is something that they're wanting, we will support that transition for them to move over to the new organization as well.
Jay Woodford Council has just advised me of something. So.
Brian's probably going to be mad at me, but not that this organization is not good, this business isn't good, but I think kind of similar with our home incarceration program where we're thinking about how not having to bid that out, but we are bidding it out. I had consulted with Rich Ornstein, and I think that this is more than just a professional service. It's for example, I'd asked Rich Ornstein, do we have to bid this out for the home incarceration? And he said he wouldn't think that would qualify. For example, if they're writing software specifically for us, maybe it qualifies, but if this is something already out there that might need a little tailoring, that's different. Therefore, it isn't, in my opinion, a professional service under the statute. So,
well, under the training I've had through KJA, this would fit under professional service, and one of the reasons why is they are writing a contract specifically for Boyle County. So it's not a standard contract that they use for others.
And I also went to the county attorney conference last week, and they said these jailers go to the conferences and these people tell them these things, and they come back and it's not correct. But
well, you're the attorney. But here's the thing: I've got 60 days to make a choice, and there's no way we could bid this out And I mean, this is an emergency situation. There's no way we can do a bid. What's your all's experience with dealing with this? Because I'm sure you've dealt with this before.
Absolutely. So it's crazy to us how certain counties across the state are differ on this. Probably half the contracts we take over are bid out and run through the fiscal court. Probably half of them are just signed by the jailer. Most in that half says it's a professional service. They can do that as they see fit. And I can tell you that there's some counties close by that is actually doing an emergency quote-unquote declaration because they didn't have enough time to bid something out. That was the way they did it in their court. So it is a mix across the board.
Counselor, if we pass an emergency recommendation, does that help?
I mean, I think that would make me feel better.
So moved.
I mean, what, you know, you say that they're writing something specific for us. How is it, can you just give us an example of how it's different from some other jail?
Well, they're going to treat my staff and their children and then also the county employees for acute conditions. So at no charge to the county.
And to clarify, and to be completely transparent, we do offer treating staff members of the jail and other facilities, but we do not offer county employees. So it is specific to this county by being able to offer that treatment to county employees.
I move that we move this forward with a declaration of an emergency.
Okay.
No, a second.
All right, Magistrate Ellis has made the motion to proceed under emergency declaration for the contract with, I'm sorry,
3Cs.
3C. Second by Magistrate Bodner.
It's
Any
comprehensive
discussion?
correctional care is 3Cs.
And to be completely transparent, our actual name is West Kentucky Correctional Healthcare. We DBA as 3C. So the contractual and then contracts will say West Kentucky Correctional Healthcare.
West Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any
So,
discussion?
yes. To deem this as an emergency, we have 60 days to transition from Ephraim to this new company.
Yes.
And you think it's going to take every bit of those days to do that?
Exactly.
So, because I think about it, okay, we bid it out for 30 days and see what comes back, and we're still within that 60-day window. But that's not what...
It takes longer than that.
But because we have already received a termination letter from Ephraim saying they're pulling out, that kind of justifies the emergency instead of just bidding it out, because
Excellent point.
they're pulling out at a certain, like, they're telling us we quit.
That's better than us like firing somebody.
Right, right. No. And they're not saying we quit.
They're saying they're willing to
That they're terminating the contract, and I think it's a good show of their commitment to the community, realizing that this was a round hole in a square peg, and it just didn't fit quite. I know that you all put everything you could into this, trying to make it work, and I appreciate that, but I think by you all realizing the scope of what this would cost the taxpayer and terminating, I think that maybe gives us the opportunity to say this is an emergency.
Ultimately, the professional services and the taxpayers are getting the benefit of this arrangement.
So with that, I do feel better. I'm sure you guys are doing this all over. I don't know if it's something you've offered other places. How is it going to work? Are they just going to, so if, Roger's over there, it's a little easier.
So
but
he comes around to the Sally Port doors and asks to see the nurse. Now, if she's out on the floor, it may take a minute, because she's got to finish what she's doing, but she would sit there and meet with them.
I think it might behoove you and them to kind of put a limit on the amount of people that can be seen a day or whatever. You don't want this getting into a situation where people are like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to go to normally if you can't get in with my doctor, going to urgent care or ER, you don't want them bypassing those other two and just going right to see this nurse.
And
It's
that's
overwhelming.
a good point. We'll work something
Because what we don't want in a year when we renegotiate, we saw 850 extra people than we imagined, and now your rate is up this high.
Yeah.
So
And I'll sit down, we'll work out what's reasonable for them.
I appreciate the extra care. I just don't want to overrun a system where you have specific needs on this that needs to come as a priority. It's a nice add-on, but not that our employees would take advantage of it. I don't want that ever to be a problem.
And to clear up the point, what you're saying, and I believe that this is what Magistrate Cullen is saying, is rather than going to a 24-hour emergency facility where it's going to be back on your coverage, they're coming in and without going to the 850 in a year, they're coming in not going to receive any money as an employee of our county.
Yeah.
And it's in there that it specifically states that it's at the jailer's discretion.
I like that. Okay, good.
What's the duration of this contract? Is it
It's for a year.
It's for, I
It'll
don't know
be
if it's
for 1 year
fulfilling,
from today.
fulfilling the Ephraim's 1 year.
Well, if the court approves it, it'll be from 1 year from today, and then we'll sit down and renew it again in a year.
Call the question.
So renewable in a year. Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. That's all I have.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jim.
thank you very much.
Thank you all.
I've had some people waiting for quite a while, and I'd like to move down to number 17 for our Black History Month proclamation. And Mr. Swan has been out in the hall waiting patiently, and Mr. Hughes has been in the room waiting patiently. So I appreciate you all being here. First of all, I would like to read the proclamation for Black History Month for 2023. Whereas the month of February has been designated as Black History Month, and whereas February has been set aside for all of us to learn about and appreciate the history and contributions of African Americans and their tremendous effort on America and its ways of life, and whereas the 2023 theme of Black History Month is Black Resistance, and explores how African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppression in all forms since the nation's earliest days, and whereas the 1950s and 1970s in the United States was defined by actions such as sit-ins, boycotts, walkouts, strikes by black people and white allies in the fight for justice against discrimination in all sectors of society, from employment to education to housing, and whereas black people have had to consistently push the United States to live up to its ideas of freedom, liberty, and justice for all, and whereas black people have sought ways to nurture and protect black lives and for autonomy of their physical, intellectual, education, literature, sports, media, and legislation, and whereas black-led institutions and affiliations have lobbied, litigated, legislated, protested, and achieved success. Now therefore, I, Judge Executive Trilly L. Bottom, and the Boyle County Fiscal Court hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month on this 24th day of January, and urge all citizens to join in recognizing the importance of Black History Month and the contributions of African Americans not only in our community but also in our county, our state, and our nation. And I invited Marvin Swan and Michael Hughes here today, and I want to tell you just briefly why I invited these two gentlemen. Michael Thomas Hughes is not only a talented music artist, but he is instrumental in recording the history of the African American community, especially the 2nd Street history, which has evolved into a Soul of 2nd Street festival. He is the president of the Danville Boyle County African American Historical Society. He has co-authored the pictorial book Images of America, African Americans in Boyle County. His latest exhibit, entitled We Were Here, was displayed in the Norton Center at Center College, featuring thousands of historical photos. He is recognized on behalf of his extensive efforts to recognize and share the life and history of the local African American community, both past and present. Michael, I brought a copy of your book today to show everyone. If you do not have a copy of this, you should get a copy. It's down at the History Center, and it is full of just wonderful pictures of the black community and the history of black Americans in Boyle County. Mr. Swan is president of the local NAACP, which is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, whose mission is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. He has served on the Danville Board of Education and has counseled hundreds of students in the Danville school systems. He has served as a substitute teacher, and he has helped recruit black people to come back to Danville to live and work in our community. He remains active in the community, and he currently serves on the Extension District Board as the chairman. And I have certificates, I have a certificate of proclamation. That's the only one I had you. And I want to present this to both of you if you would like for it to go to the History Center or if you'd like for it to be displayed somewhere else. But I just want to say thank you to what you all do for our community, for how you promote Black history and help us, everyone in the community, to know what has gone on in the past and what continues to go on in the future. And I appreciate both of you very much. Thank you for being here. We love each other.
All right, this is great. Thank you so much. Good picture. Thank you.
And thank you all for being so patient while we went through all of our other business. I know it's about to get wore out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, Mr. Swan and Michael, thank you very much for all you do. You all are both an example of what one person can do, not only for your community, but for our community all together. And so I appreciate it, getting to know you all over the years, and thank you for all you do.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. Have a great day.
The pictures are such a, you can see the history and just looking at the pictures.
Yeah, I implore you to come down to Northern Center if you haven't been down there.
That's right. That's right.
He's also known as the Fly Guy.
The Fly Guy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You told me come at 9 o'clock.
She didn't tell you which day, did she?
All right, we're going to get back on track. Rusty Cox,
Hey, all right.
please give us your report.
This is going to be very quick. Basically, back during the pandemic, FEMA declared a disaster, so for a period there in 2020, we applied for reimbursement for certain funds we spent, and we've been approved by the FEMA for $43,000 to get back. But what we have to do every time we change administration, we just did this last year, but we got to do it again. It's called the designation of an applicant's agent. It authorizes our judge executive to be the agent, and I do most of the liaison work and everything. But this is just renewing that resolution. It has to be done by resolution. It's one of 3 or 4 pieces of paperwork that I have to turn in.
Make a motion, we approve.
To get that money.
Motion made by Magistrate Cullen to approve the designation of applicant's agent by resolution. Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Good deal.
You said we received $43,000?
That's what we've been approved for $43,000.
And that's for what?
Our COVID expenses.
COVID, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Better than nothing.
COVID what?
Is it at the jail?
At the jail?
Or everything?
Or
I can't
COVID?
remember.
It's for everything.
That's for everything.
Everything, yeah.
So we don't know how
everything.
much of that's the jail.
Yeah.
Very little. Okay.
Very little.
I heard none. That's what I heard. I heard none. They get
But you have a copy of everything.
Yes.
All you have to do is fill it out and get me a copy, and I'll send that and the other paperwork in, and
Okay.
we'll try to get our money.
Thank you, Rusty.
Thanks, Rusty.
We
Thank
need
y'all.
to back up to the proclamation. I forgot to ask you all to approve the proclamation.
So
motion to
moved.
approve.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, just in time, Boyle County Clerk, Casey McCoy, you're up.
I'm back.
Jack.
All right. I'll go through a little bit about what I'm trying to present here. I've also got a short video, kind of shows how it works.
Oh, cool. Visual aid.
It also shows the new Epoll pads that we purchased. I think you'll have a quote that I've put in the packet. It's through Harp Enterprises, which who we have our voting machines through. This is, I
There's
believe.
a picture of the equipment?
Yes. And is there a picture of the receipt? Just yes. Okay. This is, in my opinion, what's going to be. It's pretty much the future of what election day is going to look like. Early voting is going to look like.
Looks like a karaoke machine.
Franklin County has already went to it and used it the last election I know of, with no issues. I know Lincoln County has recently purchased some of these machines, which are Verity Print, with an auto ballot kit. Anderson County is currently going to them, and Garrett County is currently going to them. This is kind of for two of them, which you can see it's for shipping and everything, it's $13,620. This will, in my opinion, not only speed up the line on voting day, on election day, it also takes the poll worker out of the equation. With the new Epoll books we have, of course, you see the receipt that it prints out with all the information for the voter. It has on the receipt, it has the ballot that the registered voter must receive. And then once you take this to the print on demand, they scan it with the barcode at the bottom, it pops up, you push print, and the printer prints out the ballot that the registered voter needs. To me, that takes out user error, that takes out receiving the wrong ballot. It also takes out the payment that a clerk has to pay to make sure they have enough ballots on election day. So,
which is expensive.
Which is very expensive. On a good election turnout, there's anywhere from 45 to 50% may show up. But a clerk's worst nightmare is to have 75% show up, and then there you are with either not enough ballots, or you have an overwhelming amount of ballots left because people didn't show up. So
walk me through this, just because.
And you've got a video, right? That'll
Yes.
show us where it is.
Now, it
Should we
doesn't
watch
take
that
the
first?
poll worker out completely.
No.
Because you still
The
have
poll
to
worker,
have.
the poll worker will be there to scan. It takes
Verifying
it
that the
takes-
picture on the ID matches the person using the ID, right?
Yes, when
Okay.
you see on the video, you'll see them scan the thing. It pops up, and you click yes print on because you check to make sure the right ballot pops up on the screen. You click yes print, and then it automatically prints the right ballot. It keeps the poll worker from having to dig through a box,
There you go.
make sure they pull out the right ballot and hand the right ballot.
But
I'd like to see the video, and then we'll.
Might answer your questions.
Yeah, it might answer
And
all
I
of
also want to add too, this is going to be part of the $12.5 million allotted next year. So this will be part of the reimbursement for 2024. Okay, so what I'm hoping for is I can get 2 machines, 2 of the print on demand to try out in this next primary election coming up, where it's a smaller election with not as much stuff on the ballot that we can go through from what I call a test run. And that way, when the $12.5 million comes up for next year, I can look at if it's a success, adding those to what we could be reimbursed for, with the county being out of a very small amount of money.
Will you use these for early voting?
Yes.
Okay. So that'll be your test, is early voting?
Yes, early voting is what I plan on doing, which could change. I could try to, but right now that's what I'm trying to do with them, to see how they work.
So, I think the video is going to show us how they work. That does not relate to my question. Completely. So we purchased how many new voting machines last year, was it?
17?
I was going to say 15 to 17.
Voting machines.
Voting machines, but this will not take the place of those voting machines.
No,
No.
This has nothing to do with the actual scanner that you're talking.
This takes the place of a paper ballot.
Yes, so
Yeah.
let me work through this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little
Yeah,
bit of
no,
this
that's okay.
guy brain of mine. I need Casey to mansplain it to me. But all right, so you're just getting a couple of these to try out, and then from there, possibly it will be in everywhere that the voting machines are.
My long-term plan is to have these in every voting center to take place of buying paper ballots.
Which makes complete sense. That's what we've heard the last couple elections, is trying to make sure that you have them everywhere. And then once we went to COVID, you could vote anywhere, and it was like, I mean, I had people that voted for me in Parksville, like, just because that's where they were. And
Yeah.
so,
This takes out the guessing game of how many ballots to order, where to place those ballots, in the voting centers, you know, where
Is
people
this-
are gonna vote. This will print any ballot style for
So if
anybody.
somebody from a neighborhood here in Danville is in Parksville and they vote in Parksville,
yeah.
Parksville, the center doesn't have to have that paper ballot on hand, it's printed out automatically.
Who prints our ballots normally?
Harp.
Okay, so it's not gonna be a local, like, it's not DOE or Minuteman that we, okay, all right.
That's who we'll buy our paper from.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming we still have all the coverage in the world for the disabled people in each.
Yes, they'll have their own, they have their own machine.
This first trial will have some backup, just in case, I guess, so.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. For sure, but
All right.
if Bill's listening, I
Hey,
sent
Bill.
him- and this is from start to finish, when the Epoll book starts up. So once it gets to right, here's where you would scan your ID. The voter signs, the poll worker signs, prints the receipt. This is the machine with the scanner, scans the barcode.
Oh, that looks like a microphone in the picture.
It's kind of slow up there.
And it'll scan front and back.
And it
if there
scans
were a
front and
back.
back. And there's the barcodes on for the ballot.
Okay, so, I'm gathering that when we buy this stuff, and I know you said it's gonna be covered under that other, but there'll be, how are you going to store, and transition it, take it to places? I mean, are we gonna need to buy several containers to kind of like package this up and?
It's all included in
Is
this,
it? Okay.
in this price.
Okay.
The bag and everything. And it will go out just like our voting machines go out with the road department. And of course, I'll help deliver them also. But this first batch right here to me is just for us to see it work. Like I said, Franklin County, a bigger county, they used them the last election with the big, with all the stuff on the ballot, and had zero complications with it. So, and it's through HARP, who our voting machines are
Right.
through. When they come to do our training with the poll worker training and for the office training, they'll go over from Epoll Book all the way through this, all the way through the voting machine. So it's a one-stop shop.
We're gonna spend the $13,620. Are we gonna get reimbursed for that, or that's out of our pocket?
It will initially be paid for by the county.
Okay.
And in 24, whenever they have the next $12.5 million allotted, just like where we purchased the Epoll books from, they will be covered in this.
Okay. And then,
Darlene, do we
Darlene,
have this is there money in the budget for election equipment?
I do have $14,000 for election new voting machines that I had
That's
put in,
something.
so.
No wonder you didn't get 3.
Now we should be uptown, have everything, we won't be needing anything
And like I said,
else.
this is what it's going towards. Like
Yeah.
whether
Right.
we want it to or not, this is the future.
It
of
makes
the election.
complete sense.
Right.
That
Yeah.
they
Oh,
would
yeah.
print them right then and there instead of waiting. and
Eliminate paper.
and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eliminate paper.
I'll make the motion then, that we go ahead and purchase these once up and made.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Cullen to purchase 2 Verity print machines for a total of $13,620, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye? Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Order your machine.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it. Thanks back again.
thank you.
On to
You sure?
Do you want to take? Where'd our counselor go?
What's wrong?
Do we normally read our emergency declarations into the record? I can't remember.
I think we do.
We'll figure that out.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Emergency declaration, whereas Boyle County Detention Center has encountered a critical situation regarding health care for incarcerated persons on this day, February 14th, 2023 in the county of Boyle, and whereas the existing provider, Ephraim McDowell Health, has met with Boyle County Judge Executive Trilly Bottom and Jailer Brian Woodford and reported that the arrangement was not working for both parties. Problem areas include staffing difficulties, budget overages, and disappointing results with our pharmacy savings through the 340B program. And whereas Ephraim McDowell Health has agreed to a 60-day cancellation of the contract with a commitment to a smooth transition to a new provider. Whereas Boyle County Detention Center carries the responsibility for providing health care for all incarcerated persons housed in the Boyle County Detention Center at the county's expense. Now therefore, I, Trilly L. Bottom, Judge Executive in Boyle County, by authority invested in me by KRS Chapter 39A.100, Paragraph 2, and 39B.070, Paragraph 1, I do hereby declare, with the unanimous consent of the Fiscal Court, that an emergency exists in the Boyle County Detention Center and direct staff to engage a contract with West Kentucky Correctional Healthcare, LLC, in line with the already budgeted funds, this 14th day of February, 2023.
Here, here.
Okay. All right, Miss Shannon, comp time.
Make a motion we approve.
Couple comp time agreements.
All right, we have comp time agreements for Monica Payne in the clerk's office and Hannah Tyler in
Clerk's office.
Clerk's office. Okay. Motion made by Magistrate Cullen to approve comp time agreements. Second. Magistrate Gay. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you have the maximum allowable annual compensation for elected officials sent out by the Department for Local Government. This pertains to county judge executives, county clerks, sheriffs, and jailers. We'll do them separately, or no, they're all together.
Make a motion we approve.
Okay. Well, we also have the COLA increase for county attorney, county coroner, and county magistrates as well. They're all on one order.
Yeah, I'll make that.
Okay. Motion to approve maximum allowable salary schedule by Magistrate Gay.
I'll second it.
Second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Can we get commission off of y'all's salaries?
Good try, Magistrate Cullen. Good try.
We're missing a zero here and there.
All right, Sheriff Bottom.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Was that gray there before you became sheriff? Do what? Was that gray there before
Yeah,
you became
just,
sheriff?
I haven't had a haircut in several weeks, and when it grows out, you can see it pretty good. So I've been in contact with Danville Christian Academy for the last couple of weeks about a school resource deputy. I changed that from officer because we're deputies here. They voted. They met with their finance committee and they met with their board. They voted on the 2nd of this month to approve to pay the full salary for one certified sheriff's deputy to be their school resource deputy. They're K through 12 school. It's all on one campus. Like right now, we have 5 SROs for 5 different campuses or 5 different schools for Boyle County. So we would have one person out there because it's one campus. I'm asking the court, the schools agreed to pay for their salary, and I'm asking the court to pay 7.65% of the salary listed there. I wish Shannon was still in. Shannon's still in? No, she's not here. I believe she said that's maybe a payroll tax, or I'm not really sure what that number is, but that's what she.
That's the Social Security rate.
Okay.
Medicare.
I'm asking the court to pay for the deputies' uniforms, one radio, a computer, of course their belt, their uniform belt, and a handgun and a ballistic vest. The total there at $11,064. The sheriff's office, I would provide 1 certified deputy, patrol rifle, cruiser, and the body cam for the cruiser and for the deputy.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second that.
Motion made by Magistrate Gay to approve the hiring of a SRD, I guess this would be.
It's a SRO, but I think
for
that means
Danville
something.
Christian Academy. Second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion?
Is this, I see where, I'm guessing it says 1 year just because that's a salary for 1 year, is that correct? Or is this
Yes,
just
sir.
a
It's
1 year
a
arrangement?
1 year contract, yeah.
Okay, and so everybody, including the SROD, knows that it is a 1 year
Yes.
deal to be renewed, so that we're not obligated to them if the school doesn't renew their.
Is there a reason why they didn't want to do longer? Like, I think Boyle County, we
We
do.
do one year.
And you review the contract every year?
Every year, yeah. It's
Okay.
every
We
single
have
year.
SROs in all the schools and all.
Danville Christian Academy is the only school in the county that's not covered. And they want to move. they
Except for
want
Montessori, but I don't think they need one.
they want them there tomorrow. So,
Good.
and they wanted them there.
And you have a
Weeks.
person ready to go?
Of course, we have to go through the hiring process,
Okay.
but I'm sure there's
Okay.
several people that are
Okay,
ready for it.
and you're already doing that? You're going
Yes.
through the hiring process now? Okay.
Sheriff Bottom,
Yes, sir.
am I understanding that technically this SRO is full-time with the school?
They're full-time sheriff. They're full-time sheriff deputy.
So if you have needs for overtime or anything else, then you access this officer.
I can, but the way that we're going to try to work that out is that they are just like a teacher, that they work while that school is in session.
Thank you.
They'll be on the school schedule?
Yes.
So they'll be out in the summer, just like all the other
Summer
SROs?
and then the winter break, and then
Yeah.
and then this salary as well as to cover the basketball games they have out there.
Okay.
Does the, so, healthcare, retirement, anything like that we have to worry about? Or is that
I would be hiring someone who's retired.
retired? Kind of what we've done in the past?
I have one full-time certified SRO that you guys pay for their
Yeah.
benefits. The rest are retired.
But he works year-round, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He works. Yes, he does.
Yeah,
work
he does
year-round.
work year-round.
The $3,564 is included in the total $11,064?
Yes.
Okay. So the court's portion would be $11,064 total?
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, we have to pay Clef, but it's reimbursed, so I didn't have that.
So if we renew every year, all we'd have to pay would be the
35.
$3,500.
I would say they need uniforms every once in a while.
Yeah.
I think I can handle that in the future.
So, the opposition that you'll get on this is that it's a private school. But Sheriff and I have talked about this, that even though it's a private school, majority of the kids go there, their parents still pay property taxes in Boyle County.
Correct.
And God forbid something happens out there, this community will wrap around that school just like the public schools and wish we had come up with this sooner. So I feel that this is very much a worthwhile getting into to protect as many kids as possible. And like I said, the majority of them are taxpayers as well. So.
And as Magistrate Bodner pointed out, it's basically a $3,500 a year after the first year
Correct.
of the initial investment, and the school is really paying the bulk of the position.
But what you'll see is you'll receive phone calls from people that are saying, "Hey, I saw a sheriff's deputy posted out there," which I think you guys are there anyway, right? Or is that
There are several. I don't want to say that.
Traffic.
There's off-duty officers that are out there.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes.
I see the traffic, directing traffic, whatever. So.
Is there special training for SROs?
Yes, they have to have SRO 1, 2, and 3, and I believe 2 or 3 of our SROs have just completed that training. So they have to. There's a specific school training that they have to have through DLCJT. I think it's 1, 2, and 3.
Good to know. Yeah.
I appreciate Danville Christian Academy recognizing the fact that even though they are a Christian school, bad things happen to good people. And
Right.
that they are being proactive in requesting a school resource officer to be on their campus, so.
And they've
kudos
stepped
to
up
them.
with a commitment, a financial commitment
Yes,
as well.
yes, kudos to them.
Our kids are our future.
Yes.
So wherever they are.
I mean, my thing is, I raise my right hand to protect everybody in Boyle County. So it's, whether you go to a private school or a public school, you deserve
Yeah.
not to be a target.
And if something was happening there, you're responding there anyway. It's not like you're
Absolutely.
saying, no, sorry, it's private school, I can't respond there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Thank you all.
any other discussion? Nope. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, Director Rogers, EMS.
We're almost done.
Almost.
He spent the day with us.
Appreciate your patience.
Thank you, Judge, and Fiscal Court. We're asking for the judge to sign an agreement for Campbellsville University to allow their students to do ride time with us as a field internship site. As at the EMT level, they have to ride so many hours and so many patient contacts, and we're excited and honored they asked us to watch over their students and teach them what we know. So it's a simple contract. Very, we sign a lot of these with the different organizations, but it's also a recruitment tool for us. 'Cause I always tell our people if they come ride here, they'll once they do their ride time, the service will sell itself, and they'll want to come back. So
We can only hope.
It's a good group you got out there, so yeah,
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Wow, okay.
I was waiting for y'all to jump in. I'm not gonna give you too long.
To approve the memorandum of agreement between Campbellsville University Allied Health and Boyle County EMS, seconded by, I'll give that to Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion?
Mike,
yes, sir.
liability always comes up in all
Yes, sir.
discussions, and I don't see any.
I failed to mention the school will be they have insurance for their people treating patients. The only time that they would be under our insurance is just riding in the ambulance.
I'm just thinking, I didn't see it, if I missed it,
Number 5.
I'm sorry, but if it's not in the contract, you're comfortable with what they've told you about?
It's item number 5.
Number 5.
Be covered and require students to be covered by limited professional liability insurance with minimum
Okay,
limits
I'm
of
sorry,
$1 million per occurrence and $3 million aggregate,
Read right over it.
if required, or a greater amount of while assigned. Yeah, so it's in there.
Obviously, things can happen through there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, they have done this in the past. Okay, so this is just more or less a continuation
Well,
of.
they just Campbellsville just started doing an EMT program, so this is for their initial. This is our initial contract with them. We've never had one with them.
So now we have an EMT program with Campbellsville and with BCTC.
Yeah, and I was going to give that update. James Nayhouse emailed me Friday. They have started their EMT class, and they have about 8 high school students and about 15 total students. And they've also asked us to be involved in that as far as loaning them equipment to use and supporting the program, and will use us as a ride time site also.
We got a truck or two we can donate.
And as a side note, our EMA director, Brian Cowell, has also signed up to go through the EMT training because he wants to be an EMT as well. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Just little, do you need a vote, Randy? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Getting ready to ask. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
I do have.
I'll get this signed for you.
Thank you. I wanted to give a quick update on our Samsara. We are continuing to learn how to use this program, learn the software, learn how to coach people to be better drivers. And one of the things we started in the last 2 weeks was it's been a phased implementation. And one of the things that we started the last 2 weeks is just looking at their overall driver score per driver and per agency. So I'm gonna pass this around for you to look at. You'll see the employee name and then their safety score there in the middle. This is only for the last 7 days, but we're monitoring this every month. We do the monthly report, and it's something objectively that shows how safe our drivers are driving. So it's you know, again, I can't say enough good thing about our providers out there, about how their commitment to safety and caring for the patients. I just want to.
And while you're looking at these scores, we found out, Magistrate Bowden and I found out this morning that the run totals for January were 613. That is the highest that I can remember since I've been on the EMS committee that we've had, and still, you know, they're still being very careful with how they transport people, treat county equipment, and do a job. I got one.
We've
already
got
seen
it.
it.
Everybody's seen it?
Yep.
Do you have how many miles did we drive in 2022?
Here you go. Why don't you read it?
Sorry, I should have kept a copy myself. The 2022 wrap up with Samsara software, we drove 113,000 miles. That's 4 times around the globe. 3,554 hours behind the wheel. So that averages about 16,000 miles per truck. And I think that number is a little, it's more distributed out because we had so many trucks that had to be fixed. So typically we see around 20,000 to 30,000 a year per truck if they stay in service all the time. So.
That does not count the chase vehicles, so there's actually even more hours and more miles because the chase vehicles will.
And the wear and tear while they're idling on site.
Yeah.
2 of our new trucks actually turn off when
Nice.
they're not, and they start themselves. It's a super smart truck, which you expect for 260,000. But it does. It helps to decrease the engine hours. If the temperature changes so much, you'll just start back, and it's really cool.
That is cool.
So heated summer, cold winter, it automatically.
It monitors that internal
That's
cabin
fantastic.
pressure, temperature.
Measure game.
So, I was kidding.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna play like I'm Magistrate Kaywood now and say that the report is in your packet.
Yeah.
And it's a good tool to look at and review, and it does give you a lot of the information as far as the total number of runs and the money figures as well.
I was just proud to see that 10 out of, 27 drivers scored a 100%. I mean, that is an awesome accolade to our staff and drivers and safety first.
A big thank you to KCO because they sponsored this program, so it's only it's an 80/20 max. The county is only paying about $400 or $500 for this, and so they sponsored this as the second year. So. One more thing I wanted to talk real quick about was the Kentucky Office of Rural Health asked me to be part of a delegation from Kentucky that went to the.
Rick, thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. You're fine. Appreciate it.
That's city manager.
The Kentucky Office of Rural Health asked me to be part of a delegation that went to Washington, D.C. to lobby 2 bills. One is Senate Bill 2037. It was read last year on June 22nd in the Senate, and they sent it to the Finance Committee, and it hasn't moved. What this bill would do is it's called Preservation of the Brown Ambulance Service. It would allow a rural EMS service, and Boyle County is considered rural, to bill Medicare and get an increased reimbursement rate. So it would help to bring back a little bit more with reimbursement. The other bill that we're trying to lobby for is the reinstatement of a rural EMS equipment and training grant that you could use for either one or both. And that they did it one time and they haven't reinstated it. So those are the 2 things that we wanted to talk to our legislators about. So I met with Brent Guthrie, Representative Comer, and Rand Paul, and went part as a delegation, but some members of the Kentucky Hospital Association was there, so I got to spend a lot of time with Bud Warman from the Kentucky Hospital Association, explain to him kind of the stuff that were challenges that we have. And by the time we went into our first meeting, actually the Kentucky Hospital Association was lobbying on part of us to get us better funding so we could move patients a little better. So it was a really good meeting. I felt like there was some interest with at least some of the representatives and the senators, so I'm going to follow up with them. And so it's Senate Bill 2037. If you fill out
2037 or 27?
2037.
2037.
Yes, ma'am. So,
I'd encourage you to get with Julie, because we have an extraordinary relationship with Senator McConnell's staff here in Kentucky, and we just heard from her again this morning. We met with her. We can have it 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. And she can help out on that.
We did meet,
particularly since it's a Senate bill.
Right. Yeah. We did. Part of the delegation did meet, but that wasn't my group. But we did meet with Senator McConnell's office. So.
The report you gave us that shows how much you can bill and how little you get back shocks me. I had no idea that was the case. That's sad.
And Director Rogers and I spoke yesterday, and I am going to send a letter to all of our federal legislators asking for their support. So on behalf of Director
If anybody
Rogers.
has any questions on the financial report, you can find me or call me or ask me any
because
questions.
as you said, that information's there, and you can see the total billed and the total received is a big gap.
Down at the bottom is the collections that we do. Typically, we see about $12,000 a year in collections, so we don't really get a whole lot from that. But you can see the amount that we turn over each month is $20,000, $30,000 a month.
Judge, if you would send carbon copies to the court,
Sure.
some of us have relationships and
Yes.
follow up with your letter,
Absolutely.
reinforcing.
Yeah, I would encourage that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Treasurer Lanham, you have an item for surplus?
Oh, we do. Boyle County Fiscal Court would like to surplus a vehicle to be given to the city of Perryville. In lieu of payment toward the vehicle, payment will be made toward the price of pre-purchased parts that include brakes, rotors, I believe a manifold, and oil change.
So move.
Okay. Motion made by Magistrate Ellis to approve the surplus vehicle. Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion?
If we have extra any other time, I just want to be in on the process of, in case I can check with the city and see if they have any needs, which I don't know that they do, but.
And that's fine. Perryville actually reached out to Sheriff Bottom on this and asked him if they had any vehicles available, so that's kind of how that conversation got started. And then it came to me, and then I went to Darlene.
Yes. That's great. That's great. That way I, didn't even think about that being an option, so that'd be good.
Yeah.
Do we keep an inventory of everything that might be surplus?
Yes. Yes.
I guess we as magistrates ought to take a look at that every now and then. Because I know there
Darlene
needs
can
all.
provide that. Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion on surplus? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, we are up to magistrate reports. Magistrate Ellis, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Judge. I brought up a concept that I'll say on the front end, it might be a cost we don't want to even think about incurring, but with 180 employees, a year or so ago, we added the air ambulance, which is not a great cost and a tremendous savings if any of our employees have to utilize it, and none of us want to. Akin to that, we can all earn $2,000 a year. I'm going to file today for my first deductible on my drug coverage, for example. That does not carry over at all. And Darlene, if we could look at a study of the use of that, and I know we don't want to have 180 times $2,000 expended because the taxpayers would find that just totally unacceptable. But in many cases in other corporations, you can assign that to someone else who might have a $100,000 claim and transfer it over if you think you're not going to use it. But again, you do that times 180 and we're going to bankrupt whatever system that we have in place. But just some ability to carry over some or to assign it to an employee who might be in need. Same as assigning either vacation time or comp time to another individual. But I'd just like to kind of explore what could be done along those lines, probably with starting with Steve Griffin would be the logical. Number two, you'll be hearing again, what we've heard for 4 years running, about the dilemma with the Crawford House being owned by the state and the impediments that are in place. I wish the councilor were here, but he knows that we're going to be doing this. Next meeting, Harold Edwards, an extraordinary leader in Perryville, who's part of the structure of the, he's president of the Perryville Battlefield Association.
I'm not sure of the correct title for that.
Well, we can find that now. But he will come and give us a status, and it's likely that he and I, perhaps the judge, will be going to Frankfurt to try to arm wrestle on the surveys that exist, on some modification of that, and the finance committee, finance department in Frankfurt, finally making a decision as to whether or not they'll de-accession that, surplus that, so that it can be sold at auction. I think those of you who've been on the court with me know that I've said for the last 3 years I have a gentleman from Indiana who's interested in bidding. Mr. Edwards says that there's a person that he knows of that might be interested in bidding. But this is the Confederate headquarters at the top of the rise in that house, and down at the bottom were all the Confederate soldiers when the drought was so severe that the only running water in the area was the everlasting spring that came out of the hillside into the Chaplain River. And it's just in such a terrible state of disrepair that the Crawford House, if it's not saved within the next year or two, could crumble to the ground. Just an alert, we've been talking detention center and budget and short and long-term needs. The judge and I have had meetings with the jailer and with outside folks about what we're going to have to do, and we have to do it or we're not going to be meeting state and federal guidelines. We're actually very close to some serious problems with that right now. So in the near future, we're going to have to consider when we get into budgets what we're going to do there. The Public Works, I'm chair of the Public Works Committee, and we have a dire need for a 3-quarter-ton truck. It is budgeted, it's in there. We've talked to both Bob Allen and Stuart Powell, and we'll be seeking a third bid and hopefully moving forward on that quickly, because we've been hauling a 10,000-pound trailer and piece of equipment with trucks equipped to haul 6,500 pounds. And we're ruining good equipment while we're waiting to get the right truck. We've got one, but it's in such disrepair that it probably needs to be surplused as well. And then on a major scale, we all heard, who went to conferences recently, there will be redistricting going on. And I guess this is more for the public to understand that, as I heard it, and if anybody else heard it differently, we will be assigning 3 individuals in the community, not members of the court, to discern what changes could possibly happen on our map, whether anybody's lines are moved. I don't think our population shift has been anything like other counties, but we'll be working on that. And I think the outside date was June.
It was May, but I've heard rumors they've extended it to June, and we'll work with County Clerk McCoy to select that 3-member panel.
And it's so sophisticated that we'll have to make a decision on what compensation these 3 individuals would get in the process, because it will be a very difficult task.
I believe there is a set amount by statute, but
Good.
we'll look that up.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mr. Bodner?
Just lots of complaints about trash. I really am talking to the school system about starting a Clean Up Boyle campaign. Because, I mean, I've gone around, and I guess every winter it probably gets worse, but now you can just see it so much. So I've had several complaints, and I've talked with Brian Woodford about getting the crews out, and now he doesn't have the people to do that. So I really want to, try to start with the kids, if they can get the kids in the schools to do some campaigns to maybe help the parents to not allow
maybe
trash.
Adopt a road or something.
Yeah, adopt a road. I'm working with the school system on that. I also wanted to check about the siren at airport. I haven't road, the warning system, have they?
We talked about that at the last meeting.
I couldn't remember if he said it, he said he was gonna check it.
He has got someone out there checking it.
Okay,
Yeah,
still just checking.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then, I had God's Pantry's reaching out, that's a nonprofit, and it has, the state for 9 years has paid the utilities and have given them the building, but now they're telling them they either have to get a new building or pay their own utilities, so I'm just working with some people. It is a good program. Our backpack program helps them, and I think I've mentioned this before, but the backpack program where the kids get the food every weekend. If they don't have food, they take a backpack of food home. Well, they work together with God's Pantry to get the food at a better rate and to get more quantity of different kinds of food.
And that's located in Junction.
And that's in Junction City. So I'm still working on that. I've called some people. Let's see, worked on the antiviral. The state has a site that you can get to find out where you can get antivirals, but it pretty much just lists here you can get it, but it doesn't tell if it's available that day. So I'm still going to work with the health department and talk to them about seeing if there's any way we can get pharmacists to say, just click somewhere on that site that says we have available antiviral. And let's see, we had some complaints about Ghost Pike, and Roger looked at it, and we have a lot of falling tree limbs, and he's watching that more carefully. But we also have a complaint at the end of Ghost Pike about a lot of mud coming from where it was the little used to be little oil, I think, there, but now somebody else rents it out, and they bring a lot of...
See, it's Spectrum.
Spectrum, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
and
we
we've
need
got,
to...
men,
They say...
has talked to, not cutting you short here.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, yeah.
But, Mr. Colin had talked to me about the debris that's out on 52, as far as the brush and stuff. And now, I've got a phone call also about the mud that's being traveled.
Right, it's making a slick stop right there before the stop sign, and they have had several accidents
And
there.
actually, the state has, I think, sent them a letter on their cleanup as far as brush goes, but as far as the mud.
So maybe I can call and just ask them, if there's anything they could do to, they say it makes it slick if it's raining, and just things like that. And lastly, a lot of concern over the number of cars that are on the bypass that do not stop. I'm gonna go by the sheriff's department. I'm sure I've got to talk with the city police, but they run that light constantly. As I was sitting there talking to my husband, 2 seconds after the light turned red, didn't even put on his brakes, a semi went through the light right there by Walmart. I said, they must have either been watching, which I hope they are, or on their phones, which is, sad. But if anybody pulled out, they'd all be dead. Everyone in the car would have been dead. And they do that constantly. So I've got real big concerns about that. But that's it. I'm still talking to people.
Thank you.
Kudos to the sheriff's department. We were setting to turn left, headed towards Stanford off the Houstonville Road. And 2 cars run the red light, turning left. Blue lights come on. He came out of traffic. He was headed south, and he went out and had one pulled over. Hope they got a ticket.
Yes.
Maybe to save their life, not theirs, somebody else.
That's right.
It is a big issue with these bypasses.
It is.
They run them all the time. Houstonville Road, they couldn't keep up traffic off I-75. They get too far behind, they're going so fast down Houstonville Road.
Speed is an issue.
I've clocked some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got that off. I'd like to, for us as a court, judge executive, consider putting a more scheduled time frame for our court meetings. Instead of 15 people in the hall piled up and they're waiting, they want to come in and do it and go home. But when they are put on the agenda, why not give them a time frame? And if they go over the time frame, the judge hit the mallet, your time's up, sorry, but we gave it to you.
Yeah.
I think they would appreciate, I would, whether it's the jailer, here we got the man over the road department, he's still here.
Yeah.
EMS is still here.
This people
I'm not
walk
letting them
back.
leave.
They can't walk back to the building.
But you know,
They're
it's,
here to fight for their budgets.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're
and
for
you
lunch.
know, if we had a courtroom plenty of size, that'd be all right. But we're cramped for
It
space.
is a problem. It is.
But I've sat here and observed it. I haven't been here but 16 years plus when I've been as a magistrate.
Right.
And it's been the same way all along.
Right.
But we can structure it and give them a time.
We can look at that.
Yeah.
Yes, we can look at that.
That's all I got.
I went to this Danville City Commission meeting last night, and just to see, you know, how things go over there, because I had never been to a meeting there. They don't have a set schedule either, but it's, you know, they do have an agenda like we do, and there's certain things, you know, that gonna. Sometimes things just take longer to discuss, and but we can look at. It was just like some of them I told not to come until 10 o'clock, but they showed up at 9 o'clock, and so then they've set, you know, what they would have had to, you know, waited plus an additional wait time. So it just, yeah, but we can look at that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
My turn?
Magistrate Cullen.
Okay. First off, thank you very much for our candies. That was very sweet of you. Appreciate it. Do not be upset if I re-gift it to my wife since I haven't got it.
I appreciate you helping me out.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cullen, what did you forget to get?
Appreciate you helping me out.
I don't even know what day it is. But and then, yeah, thank you very much for about the tree limbs. We actually went to Richmond last night to grab dinner, and on the way back on 52, like, I completely see what they're talking about. Like, they've come through and just cut down trees and left the branches right there. Good winds like we're supposed to get later on today will knock those right into the road.
Yep.
So so thank you for that.
Yeah, I noticed that Sunday we went to Richmond and back. So.
And thank you for going to the meeting last night. Thank you also for speaking with the mayor about Luca Mariano.
Yes.
I've had several calls with Francesco, who is the owner, last several days, and we really need, as a court, to make sure we get behind this project and try to help him navigate as best as possible.
Please share the specifics you shared.
Yeah, I'll get to that. You know, this is an opportunity that not many communities get with what if you've been out there and you've seen the billboards on what they're looking to put out there, it's going to be amazing and incredible for Boyle County and the surrounding counties, to be honest with you. So that I see as a true economic developer. He's not coming in here asking for money, but that is going to be a driver for the community. You know, there's the distillery out there that he's putting out there. There's all the rick houses that he's going to put out there that we will collect taxes on and get tax money from that. And then the Danville schools will also get tax money from that. So it's very important. Plus, he wants to have a restaurant, boutique hotel, amphitheater, just a very nice use of the land. It's going to be a great asset to Boyle County. So his frustration is that this project has taken much longer than it ever should have. He's been waiting years to get this done. And part of that problem is now we all know that the cost of goods is much more expensive than it was 2-3 years ago. So he's paying 2/3 more than he would have. And somebody put it really good to me that there's been so many, just stops along this project where it's kind of like we're stiff-arming him. At some point, we actually start needing to give it some love and almost kind of giving the project a hug instead of, like, how do we get the project to be complete so, we can start seeing the fruition of his dream. The Danville city manager last night made a comment when I was watching the video that members of the public need to, stop getting involved so much, or however he put it. But my issue with that is that I'm going to get involved if I have the owner of a project coming to me saying that I can't get this done and the city manager won't call me back for 3 weeks. There's problems. We need to get that done, and we need to come up with solutions. We need to find solutions instead of roadblocks. We need to show appreciation instead of animosity. We need to work with them instead of against them. And in all honesty, I really hope this is not an indication of future economic development. we've got 119 other counties out there that want economic development. And if we're gonna be hard to work with, then, you know, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So, you know, we can't ask them for more things than they should be putting out there. I'm hoping one of the issues of suppressing the rick houses has been resolved. We did not do that for the properties out at Wilderness Trail. We understood that per our fire chief, that if there was an accident to happen in one of those rick houses, you don't want that to leach into the ground. You want actually the alcohol to burn off, and that's the best thing.
From what I understand on that specific part of it, of course, Wilderness Trails in the county and this is in the city, and the state fire marshal is who was giving those recommendations. Now, that's just what I understand.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to him personally, but that's
But it's my understanding that Wilderness is part city, part county. Their new stuff is out in the county on the road. And the statute on it is anything under 20,000 square feet for storage does not require to have suppression in those buildings.
Okay.
That would be done at the local level. That would require that. There's a reason why those rick houses out there are like 19,999 square feet. So Luca's are, Francesco's are about 13,000 square feet. So that shouldn't be an issue. And in all honesty, a good portion of his property is also in the county. So I say, hey, build it in the county, and you know, we'll show you the love that you're looking for. But this is kind of a project that we really need to make sure that we're all involved in, and if we can have a coming together moment with the city, and I think we can. I think, you know, Rick, Jenny, Donna, and Kevin, I think, are all behind this project, and I believe the mayor is as well. We need to make sure that we're doing right by this project and those in the community that will benefit from it.
Open communication is key.
This is why there's may, will, and shall in both statutes and all recommendations that come out of Frankfurt, and I'm sure that this is one where an exemption would be easy, and I don't think it's a shall in the statute.
Yeah, there's not even, I mean, it's not exemption, it's not even needed, it's
That's
there,
right.
you know, that they have it. So anyway, so yeah, so let's kind of give this project a little bit more love if possible, because I think it'll be one of those projects that will really come to shine. And I mean, the Bourbon Trail is a big ticket item.
Yeah.
And with having Wilderness out there, and especially with the influx of with them getting bought out, or portion of their business bought by an Italian company, I mean, that's going to be huge for us, and then having everything else out here.
Yeah, it's a growing business, and it's only going to keep growing.
So anyway, so thank you all
Thank
for
you.
all your hard work. I enjoy working with everyone. So
Thank you, Mr. Cole.
yep.
Mr. Gay?
First of all, I do hope we'll find a way to pursue this that Dr. Ross presented. That does look like something that would be, you know, I'm not sure how we get it to the community, but whether it's through the health department or you know, and our employees and others, I think we do need to pursue that. Mental health is a huge issue that needs to continue to be addressed. I did finally get around to, and I know I've been talking to people and asking for your forbearance in changing some of our committee meetings. So I sent out an email last night, and I tried to position that so that it's at the same month, the same quarterly or whatever month we meet, and just on the fiscal court meeting days, much like we're meeting today. So I appreciate your all's help with that with my new job. I can get back to town after about 2 o'clock each day, but I kind of take my bank board meeting days and fiscal court meeting days and stay here in town. So
sure, we're retired.
Yeah, I'm bad at retiring. so that's what I'm doing. So hopefully everybody got that. I'm not sure if I had everybody's email, so I mentioned that. But if that works, then I think we need to, and Julie's already let me know, we need to officially announce that. If that's good with everybody, that proposal, then I think we need to.
Just hit that button that Bill put for all magistrates, and it hits.
Yeah, there you go.
And I don't have that in front of me, but
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I just sent it to the people that are on my committees right now. And then
People
we
that
can
matter.
confirm everybody does, right? People that matter. So.
I have the same listener, not on.
That's right, good.
So I appreciate that, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Magistrate Sleeper.
Yeah, I'd like to express my appreciation for all the training opportunities that county government associations and stuff are putting forth to us. It's been a great opportunity to all those that we've attended. And tomorrow we'll be attending the ADD budget workshop that's being put on, so looking forward to that. This Friday, on February 17th, our Humane Society is going to be nationally and state recognized for their county cat program. And there's going to be at the Animal Welfare Summit in Frankfurt on Friday. They will be there to present a video and to receive the recognition so well deserved from the state and national organizations. I'll be up there to represent us and to be a cheerleader and encourager for our local Humane Society.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that as well. So
That's awesome.
I've had a few opportunities to work with them in terms of animal issues in the neighborhoods and such that people have called and had things with, so it's going well. So.
Is that all the reports? Okay. Magistrate Ellis has passed me a note here about Spectrum going live in, there's still some spotty areas. You all will probably receive some calls. We'll probably receive some calls here. And it is very confusing, you know, who's got service and who doesn't. I have not heard anything, but I'm hoping that someone will. We have reached out to our contact and have not been able to speak to anyone. So we're not even sure that our contact is still with Spectrum. So we're still trying to.
Is that Ben that you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Find someone to call us back, respond to our emails, something. To find out what is going on so that we can give everybody an update on that, including the community. So we'll continue to, we'll continue to try all our resources to make contact with somebody with Spectrum. If anybody with Spectrum is watching or listening to our fiscal court meeting and they would like to reach out to us, we sure would appreciate that. At our last fiscal court meeting, it was a special called meeting. We had technical difficulties with our audio video, and we adjourned in memory of 2 people. I'm not sure that anyone was able to know that after the fact. So today I would like to again adjourn in memory of 3 people. So I'd like to make the motion that we adjourn in memory of Chester Shepperson. He was a 101-year-old World War II veteran and a lifelong Forkland resident. Also, Mary Jo Bowling, the wife of former mayor and state representative John Bowling. And then also the father of our county attorney, Chris Herron, Richard Herron. He was a Navy veteran. And he passed away recently. So I would like to make the motion to adjourn in memory and in honor of those 3 Will County residents.
Second that motion.
Okay. Motion made, seconded by Magistrate Harmon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. We're adjourned.